You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we learn all about ourselves through endurance sports and then also try to make a life worth trying. All right, on today's show, we have an interview, two interviews actually, with Darbi Roberts and Mike Derkson. And Darbi Roberts won Ironman Wales on 100 calories per hour. She won the female pro division on 100 calories per hour using a slow carb fuel and also a fat-enhanced, metabolizing, high-fat diet throughout her daily life. And it's an amazing interview. I really dig deep trying to figure out how she does it, because some people can pull this off, and if we can analyze and figure out how it works, then a whole lot of us that want to do that can do it as well. And then Mike Derkson, I used to coach him, and he called me up asking for tips on his first big open water swim in a long while. And before he called, I just knew I wanted to record it because we've gotten to be friends, and he's just really fun to talk to, and we get along really well. So I knew that when we talked, it would be worth sharing with everybody else. And he said sure, and it ends up being a really funny conversation. So we got those two interviews in one episode, and it's been a little while since I put out a show, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Got some interesting stuff going on. But before we get to those interviews, we need to do the triathlon news. There has been a ton of stuff as we're approaching Kona, and as there was two different major expos with gear, we have a ton of stuff out there that we need to cover. So, all right, let's go ahead and start with the triathlon news. Here we go. All right, we'll start off with one of the biggest things first, and it's from Cervelo, a big bike manufacturer, and it looks like they've come out with a beam bike. As of this recording, it's still yet to be released, but there's spy photos. Some pros ride futuristic bikes around Kona getting ready for the race, and people snap pictures of it as it's happening and post them to Instagram, and you can start getting an idea of what's happening out there, and it's pretty crazy when you start trying to figure out what's going on. But there's a new Cervelo bike, and it's a beam bike, and the beam means that there's no seat post, so it's kind of like a flying V from the fork, from the front end. There's a top tube that the seat post goes into, but then there's nothing connecting the back of the top tube to the drivetrain, to the bottom bracket down at the bottom. And there really doesn't need to be with carbon fiber these days. And these have come and gone. There was a Soft Ride, I think Titan Flex was another one. They're pretty cool. They give a little bit softer ride under the butt because they can flex just the tiniest bit. And a lot of people like that. And also there's possibly some aerodynamic advantages. There's no seat stays, and that's where it comes up from the rear axle on either side and attaches to the, what I think they call it the seat post assembly, which is, kind of like the seat tube area. And since there is no seat tube, there's nothing to come up. And it's the bike is really pretty. And along with that, it has disc brakes, and the frame hugs the front wheel. And that is very interesting because no mass-produced bike that I can think of has actually done that. And in that area that's hugging the front wheel, it's there's a carbon, well, it's all carbon, but there's a storage box that you can pop open and put stuff. So, like, not stuff you want while you're riding, but stuff you, like if you have to work on your bike, because you come to a stop anyway, you can pop open that box, like spare tubes and stuff like that. And maybe a Allen wrench set you can keep in there. So that's pretty cool. And that bike was released just days after the Diamondback Andean came out. And the Diamondback Andean is almost exactly the same bike. It is no seat stays, disc brakes, the down tube towards the front of the frame drops and hugs the front wheel. So it looks like a Ducati GP motorcycle, racing motorcycle. It is really cool looking. The only difference is this one has a seat tube. So it's not a beam bike. The seat tube actually, the seat post goes down and connects to the seat tube area, and the seat tube goes all the way to the frame, to the bottom bracket. And that's really the only difference. Diamondbacks were huge when I was a kid doing BMX, and they're getting back into the top-end bike game. And Cervelo's been in the top-end bike game, so it's really confusing right now, like what to do. And there's a huge debate on whether disc brakes are actually useful for triathlon bikes. And I would say, you're doing on flat ground, let's say you're riding around Houston, Galveston, you're doing the Galveston race, you probably don't need disc brakes. Once you start getting bigger hills with sharp turns and wet conditions, then and you're riding carbon rims, which are notorious for not having as good of stopping power, then maybe disc brakes are nice, and you can actually go faster with better brakes. And there's a reason the Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all the top-end race cars have amazing brakes on them. It's because you can actually go faster if you know that you can stop. When things get sketchy, you have more. Because you can stop faster, you feel more safe, and you'll actually go faster going into turns and such, and not have to scrub as much speed going in because you're not worried about it. And that's the theory, and it's been proven that actually bikes with disc brakes could be as fast or even faster. Definitely road bikes on hilly terrain are faster. But when you try to get all aero, and these disc brake rotors are kind of out into the wind a little bit, it's kind of debatable, and I guess we'll kind of have to see which way. There's facts, and there's also what people want to buy. So we'll kind of see what ends up being the combination of the two that ends up selling over the next few years. All right, let's see. Lance Armstrong has a podcast. I have not listened to an episode yet, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. You can go check that out. Chattanooga, Ironman Chattanooga was an absolutely bizarre race in that Chattanooga, East Tennessee, usually has pretty moderate to mild environment. It can get pretty hot out there and humid, really humid, and it did for Ironman Chattanooga. They had a 26% DNF rate, which is crazy. And there's theories that that's actually because there's no qualifier to do an Ironman, and Ironman is putting on more and more races, so they're trying to get people to do one. I'm always in shock when they're like, who's out here for their very first Ironman? And, people cheer because you got to do one as your first one, right? And then they're like, who's never done a triathlon before? And a whole bunch of people cheer, and you're like, dude, what are you doing out here if you've never done a triathlon? I would think that there would be you have to do 2 half Ironmans and finish before you would do an Ironman, and that would keep this DNF rate down. That way people know what they're getting into. But, that was really interesting. That's a really high DNF rate, 26%. And what's cool is we had a listener do it as his first ever Ironman, and people that did this race said that they are just blown away with how difficult it was. It was, and this guy, it was his first race, and doing a race, you have no choice. You don't know it's going to be that hard going into it when it's a weather thing. So the fact that this guy finished is absolutely crazy. He finished one of these hardest Ironmans out there because of the weather, and he's a ZenTri listener. So let's read this email real quick. He said, "Hey, Coach Brett!" exclamation point. I'm lucky enough to be one of the finishers from this year's Ironman Chattanooga, my first full Ironman, and I'm also a 4+ year loyal ZenTri listener. I've still got post Ironman ADD exhaustion, but I wanted to drop you a note thanking you for a couple of the many things I've learned from ZenTri that helped me Sunday. The first is the idea you've mentioned of standing on a stump and trying to stay balanced while triathlon variables try to push you this way and that and pull you over. And yeah, I've mentioned that a bunch of times, although I haven't done that in a while. There's so much, the whole thing about Ironman is it's death by 1,000 cuts. And what that means is if you go out and do a 5K, you pretty much run it, very little can go wrong in a 5K. You can't even get sick because it's not long enough. And in Ironman, 50% of the race is surviving things going wrong constantly and having a plan B, plan C, plan D. You need to know how to change a tire. You need to know how to fix a chain maybe. You need to know how to replace a wheel. You need to know how to fix your handlebars if they come loose. You need to know how to overcome a bonk. You need to know if you wreck, like how to clean yourself up and keep going, if it's safe to keep going. You need to know how to hydrate enough, how to eat enough. And it's just on and on and on and on. How not to get sunburned all day. It's really, really difficult. And so there's all these things pulling and pushing you all these different directions, and you need to stay centered. And it's a lot like standing on a stump. And when something pushes you, don't fall over. Just kind of go with the lean a little bit and then come back to center. When it pushes you from another direction, you go lean a little bit and then come back to center and just keep going. So he said, the mental image helped me stay aware of what was going on, which in turn helped me adapt early enough to not get too far behind any curve. Racers really started dropping around the bike's 70-mile mark. Many miles before this point, I had realized the day was going to be more of a grind than a race. I've had that where you're just like, oh, I guess I'm just going to survive this one. Holy crap. I think when I was talking about Whistler, when a guy started flying by me on the bike on the downhills at almost twice the speed I was going, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to qualify for anything during this race. This is insane compared to these guys. So I made the appropriate adjustments and was able to keep on cruising. Another biggie was bonk management. The whole day was bonk fraught. But you have shared so many experiences and solutions over the years that I didn't run into any problems that I couldn't manage with the try tools already in my mental kit. Okay, so when he's talking about that, you can overcome a bonk from not enough fueling by just waiting it out. Your body will kind of switch over in the fat burning temporarily and more of it for the longer term. It takes about 20 minutes. You can just kind of walk or coast, and then you'll feel better in a little while. And if you're not eating enough, but you need to pick up what you're eating a little bit, and then, but not too much, too fast, or else you'll get sick. But on the other hand, if you get dehydrated, you're kind of screwed. So just whatever you do, don't get dehydrated. All right, back to his email. This was supposed to be an easy zone to 14-ish hour race. It turned into a very challenging 1550 with a 26% DNF rate. Your podcast helped me get to be one of the finishers, and I can't thank you enough for all you've shared. I've got a lot more I'd like to share, but I'll have to write again when I can keep my train of thought for more than 10 minutes. Thanks again, Mark Webb. And yeah, this email's great because Mark has definitely been a long-time listener, and he's a supporter of the show. And I'm stoked to see that he actually finished his first Ironman, and it was Chattanooga, which is crazy, this year. They sell the race, they advertise it as kind of a mildish conditions, nice race. So you just got unlucky, dude. And, just kind of have to go with the flow and maybe pick I would do Chattanooga again. I mean, you just got bad luck with the weather. All right, Brownlees throwing each other over the finish line. Okay, so the Brownlee brothers are big in ITU, Olympic distance racing, and they're always 1-2. All the time, and they're not twins. So one is a little bit older than the other, and the younger one was, I think he was starting to have heat exhaustion or heat stroke, and was stumbling around just 100 yards or so from the finish line, and he looked like hell. You could tell he couldn't tell where he was anymore, but just from all of his training, all the racing that he's done, he was just kind of wandering towards the finish line trying to run. His legs were buckling under him, and he was kind of drifting pretty badly, and his older brother came up behind him, grabbed him, and threw his arm over his shoulder and not really dragged him, but ran with him to the finish line, and threw him across the finish line in front of him, maybe. And then you could kind of tell he was like saying, like, "You idiot! What are you doing? Going so hard and not drinking enough that you did that." And I tweeted the link to that video saying that is the most older brother thing I think I've ever seen. An older brother will, because I've got one, will look out for you and make sure you're okay and save your ass, but will call you an idiot the entire time that he's doing it. So it brought back many memories of me doing stuff with my older brother. So that's a pretty cool story. There's a little bit of debate on, was it outside assistance? And there's actually technically nothing in the rule book that says another athlete can't help you during the run. Especially the older Brownlee was saying that I was just trying to get him to the finish line because that was a medical emergency and he needed help now. And you can watch the video and kind of see that, that could be the case. All right, there is something that's super cool coming out on Kickstarter, and it is the LVL level, and it's a hydration monitor. This is massive if it succeeds. The technology looks like it should be there, and they've got plenty of funding. A lot of people can see a value in this. And what it does is just like these, you can get a heart rate monitor now that uses, maybe it's green laser, to shoot into your skin, and it can see your pulse. The new iPhone operating system, if you do the text messaging, where it's the kind of like where you can send your heart, like lips, like a kiss or something like that, or a heartbeat, you touch your two fingers to the screen of your phone. I think it's reading your pulse through the screen of your phone by shining light into your fingers, maybe. Well, anyway, that technology's been around for a long time. Well, they're using the same technology to read your hydration level through your skin. And so you wear it around your wrist. It looks kind of like a Fitbit. And if this thing is accurate, within a percentage or two, this is huge, absolutely huge, because Ironman is notorious for our races being crazy hot and people getting dehydrated. So the World Championships in Hawaii, Ironman Texas, this Chattanooga race, people get dehydrated, and once you lose 3 to 5% of your hydration, of your body weight, and from dehydration, you are a mess. It's absolutely terrible. So what if you had something that was reading out your hydration level, and also for recovery and everything, but I'm talking about race day on longer events. This is a major, major game changer. So if this thing actually works and it gets good reviews, I'm definitely going to get one. That's huge. Duke University did a research study and thinks they found the source of swim deaths in let's say Ironman and other races. And what happens is a small percentage of people get an enlarged heart chamber from doing hard athletic events. So let's say they do a lot of intervals or something like that. And it's not everybody. It's just, like a few people get this. And so they've got their heart chamber pumping action is actually stronger than probably it needs to be. And then when they get in cold water and they start accelerating effort, the combination of the two, being cold sends your blood to the core of your body. And so that's more towards your chest and towards your lungs to keep you warm, to keep your internal organs warm. And then also taking off fast in the start of a swim, your heart accelerates its pumping fast, and then that pumping action, if you've got an enlarged heart chamber, is more than normal. So now basically it's sending a ton of fluid to the center of your body. And somehow what this does is it puts pressure on your lungs, and the fluid leaks through the membranes of your lungs, and then you end up with water. Essentially, you end up with fluid inside your lungs, and they call it drowning from the inside out. And this would explain the weirdness where people are drowning during the start of, say, an Ironman during the swim, and they're like really fit and they're good swimmers, and there's no explanation for it. So, why would they drown? It just doesn't make sense. Well, this would totally make sense. It was cold and you're athletic, and that did it. For some people, I've actually had a heart scan done, and my heart from that scan seemed to be normal. So I'm pretty sure I'm not one of these people that has the enlarged chamber, but I would, if I had that the inclination to be that, the genes to get an overdeveloped heart chamber, I definitely would, because I just love doing intervals and stuff like that. So you may fall in that camp too. So if you can, you might want to get your heart checked out to see if one of the chambers is it's either bigger or the walls are thicker, so it's like stronger or something like that. So you need to check that out. Anyway, that's Duke University. You can Google it, source of swim deaths. Okay, at one of the bike expos, we have FSA, Full Speed Ahead, has electronic shifting now. It's semi-wireless, where the shifters up to the at the front of the bike are wireless to the rear derailleurs, to the front derailleur and the rear derailleur, but those are actually wired together with a battery as well, probably in the C-tube, I think. It's brand new. I haven't seen one in person. But so now we've got 3, 4, I don't know what. I'm trying to remember the brand that kind of comes and goes sometimes. But I think Campy kind of has a wireless one. But it's Shimano and SRAM with the ETAP are the big players in the wireless or electronic shifting game. Shimano's is not wireless, and that's what I have. But ETAP is wireless, and this FSA is semi-wireless. So it's pretty cool. They all have their ups and downs. You got to kind of consider what you want to do. But it's cool when you have more of them, the prices will start coming down. I love my electronic shifting. It is the absolute coolest thing in the world. And someday it'll be super cheap. So I bought it as like one of my big expenses that I rarely do on bike stuff. Every few years, and but hopefully it'll come down where it's almost, like a stock choice, because it is that good. All right, the new iPhone came out. It's waterproof, which is a big deal. If you haven't heard of that, then I don't know where you've been. It seems to be pretty waterproof, and that's a big deal for me because I put my iPhone in a Ziploc bag, like a snack size baggie, all the time when I go bike and run, so I don't get it wet. So I've been looking forward to that. But then in the yin and yang of life, they removed the headphone jack. So it's like, God dang it. Cut it out, make an improvement, and don't mess with other stuff. All right, HED recalled some rims that people need to know about. The Ardennis, I guess is how you say it, Ardennis Black and the Jet Black rims have been recalled due to premature brake track wear that can lead to some hazardous situations. So if you have those, you need to talk to your bike shop or talk to HED. Let's see, Eurobike went down, and just tons and tons of power meters coming out of there. DCRainmaker.com. The latest blog post, as I'm sitting here right now, is a huge review of all the different power meters out there, including ones that haven't officially come out yet, and what he thinks about those. And he's very fair and unbiased, and tells you like it is. That is his brand, is that he tells you how it is. And with that, you can actually choose which power meter is probably the best for you. If I had the money, I would get the PowerTap pedals. But I'm not in that situation where I can get those yet, because I have a PowerTap hub, and I love the thing. It's absolutely great. So I love the brand. I love how they're very zen. It just works. Very little interference from you to get it to work. They're self-calibrating, and it's just amazing. And so these pedals are a lot like that. Battery life isn't all that great compared to like the hub, but man, it's absolutely cool. And you just move it from bike to bike, just swap pedals. So cool. And if you travel, then you can basically take your power meter with you and then just throw it on any bike that you're riding, which is pretty cool. And I think that's all of the industry news. Got a little home and personal stuff here. Let's see. I mentioned on the last podcast, or the one before that, somebody was asking about which bottle cages to use behind the bike, and I suggested Bontrager RLs. And do not use those. I've been using them. I just kind of assumed they were going to work because they fit the bottle the best when I bought them. They launch bottles out of the back of my bike so fast, I cannot believe how fast. 1 mile in the rides, over and over and over again. Things launch bottles out of them. Now, on the frame, they work great. I took the bottles off the back of my bottle cages off the back of my bike and put them on my mountain bike. And, mountain bike, you're banging around all over the place. And if anything's going to launch a bottle, it would be that. Well, no problem. On the frame, it's just behind the seat. I tend to shoot them out, so I got to retract my advice to my advice, I guess is what I would say, to use those. And behind the seat, definitely on the bike is fine, but I have some other bottle cages laying around that are awesome for behind the seat, and they're Kirin, Kirin, and that's a style. Japanese fixed gear racing is called Kirin racing, Kirin. And if you Google Kirin bottle cages, you'll see these bottle cages that are alloy, and so that's like aluminum, just regular classic looking bottle cages. And what's cool about that is you can push on them and make them smaller or bigger just by pushing on them. You're bending the metal just a little bit. And they have 2 buttons on them that are like the size of a quarter each. And on that has kind of, we call it sticky, but it's rubber or silicone or whatever on the inside of those buttons that provide traction to keep the bottle from slipping out. And put that on the back of my bike, started riding around with that. I cannot seem to get a water bottle to launch out of those no matter what I hit. Railroad tracks, everything. So use those instead of what I suggested. But the still got to give a plug to the Bontrager RLs, man. They look great, and I put them on other places on my bikes. Okay, and got a little bit of interesting stuff with training with Kai. He has just turned 12. We've been mountain biking together. He freaked out when he saw a giant copperhead, which was hilarious. And he's trying to qualify for something, I forgot what it's called, in school, where you can do a bunch of push-ups. And I said, let's start doing push runs. And I've got the injured left arm, so I need to be doing some push-ups to try to recover my left arm. And so I've started doing push runs again. And push runs is where you stop every mile and do a set of push-ups. For me, it's about 10. And by the time I've run an hour, I've done 60 push-ups. And that's a great way to build your upper body strength so that when you do trip and fall when you get older, you've got strength to stop yourself because you've been doing push-ups. They say that's actually huge. And you don't break your arm or your hip or your face like I did when I tripped and fell about a year ago, 9 months ago, because actually I hadn't been doing push runs in a long time, and that probably did not help when I tripped and fell. I couldn't catch myself. And also you can feel it when you swim, that the strength in your upper body is like really, really nice. So it's cool that Kai's running with me on occasion and seeing me do that. And then he gets down and does some push-ups with me as well. And the other thing, there's a Zen thing I wanted to talk about. I read people post stuff on Twitter where they do like they do a photo of like a motivational quote, and I saw one that was actually, usually they're kind of cheesy, but this one was so good for us in the sport of triathlon and trying to figure out life. And the quote was something like, "Don't wait for motivation. It will never come, or it won't come fast enough or well enough. Motivation comes from doing the thing first. Then, as you've succeeded doing it, then actually you want to keep doing it, and then that's the motivation right there. So waiting around for you to be motivated, you'll never, ever get there, or it'll be just such a long time that, ugh. But if you go ahead and get started doing the thing that you want to do it, but you're just not motivated enough to get moving on it, start moving, doing it. And what's going on is your brain has neural pathways, and it's neurons that wire together, fire together. So it's like a trail through the woods or through a field or through the grass. If you're walking, if you've never walked across it, there's no trail. It's kind of tough going the first time. That's why it's difficult to start doing the thing that you want to do, that you need to do, and because there's no trail yet. But you walk across the field a few times, a trail starts to develop. Then it's actually pretty easy because it's smoother through the rough, through that one path. And that's actually, your brain works the exact same way. Let's say, you want to start the habit of getting up early in the morning to go run Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Don't wait for the motivation. Just do it the first time, regardless of how you feel. And then the next time, it'll actually be a lot easier, and you won't need the motivation so much. So I wanted to share that with you, a little bit of Zen insight right there. And also, we were speaking about Kai earlier. I told him the trick. He was upset about something. I don't know. And I said, I want you to notice something. And like a little while later, I said, hey, notice how you're laughing? And he said, yeah. I go, weren't you mad just a little while ago? And he thought about it, and he goes, yeah, I guess so. And I said, emotions only last 45 seconds. Good or bad, sad, happy, love, hate, whatever. They only last about 45 seconds. And don't believe your feelings. If you're upset about something, or you're just over the moon about something, don't trust yourself or that it's going to last forever. So when you're really, really mad that you're not getting what you want, then say, okay, I'm going to be mad, and I'm going to count to 45, and it'll be gone. And just go do something else, and then you won't be anywhere near as mad as you were before. It's a scientific fact. They tend to last on average 45 seconds. It's really cool. So don't get caught up in things. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our interview. But before we do, I want to give a plug to Living Fuel. LivingFuel.com. I'm actually at a computer right now. Let's pull it up. LivingFuel.com. LivingFuel. Ooh, look, it starts trying to auto-populate with supergreens.com. Bam. There's a nice video of berries and a plane flying overhead. That's great. Anyway, there's a longtime sponsor of the show. My favorite stuff is the Super Greens, and also they have other kind of like smoothie-ish kind of drinks. And oh my gosh, the Cocoa Chia bars and the Cocoa Chia snack packs are so freaking good. And also they've got omega oils and amino acids for like adding protein into your stuff. All of it is crazy healthy, super good. I've got the vanilla banana protein. I'm trying to pull up the description. I got it sitting right here inside of me, next to me. But here on the webpage, you gotta go check it out. LivingFuel.com. Their protein is super tasty. 21 grams of protein per serving. Are you kidding me? And 6 grams of fiber, probiotics, prebiotics, enzymes, all kinds of good stuff. And let's see, is it vegan? I'm trying to remember. People with whey, soy, or dairy allergies, clean from that. It's pretty cool. Athletes, competitive athletes, and weekend warriors are bombarded with unhealthy protein choices. Living Protein provides a healthy, safe alternative before, during, and after competition. If you have hypoglycemia or you're diabetic, it helps you maintain your blood sugar levels. Protein does that. It's pretty good stuff. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to Living Fuel. Go check them out and go to their website and check out all their stuff. And let's see. Let's go ahead and get started with Darbi. So I've been working with UCAN for, quite a while. I've been using it off and on for years, and because it's like a super, super, super slow carb, and we talk about it plenty during the interview. But the interesting thing is because it doesn't spike your blood sugar, you can get it. You can. It allows your body to actually access fat, because if you spike your blood sugar, your body goes, "Oh, we need more carbs, more carbs, more carbs," because that's what we're doing right now. And if you do a slow drip of carbs, then your body goes, "Well, I better supplement this with body fat instead," and then you never get the bonkage and all that other crap, because and it takes a while to train yourself to be able to do this, and you should change your daily diet as well and stuff. But anyway, I've been dealing with UCAN and working with them for a long time, and out of the blue, somebody with UCAN emailed me and said, "Holy crap, you got to check this out. You got to interview Darbi Roberts if you can. Can you interview her? Because this is amazing." And I was like, "Oh, what happened? What's going on?" And the email said that she won Ironman Wales, female pro division, on using UCAN as fuel, and on around 100 calories per hour. And the cool thing about that, it's not to starve yourself. The whole point is when you're like that, then you don't risk stomach upset from too much sugar, and then also you're burning body fat, which is a clean fuel, which just seems limitless once you kind of learn how to do it. And it's kind of like training for an Ironman, right? It takes a while, and this getting away from all the sugary stuff takes a while too. And the other fascinating thing is Darbi is, I think she said, is an assistant dean at Columbia, and works a full-time job, and so she's kind of like a part-time triathlete, and she won a full Ironman, one of the hardest ones out there, and she passed the person for the win in the last mile as that person was slowing down. And Darbi was just keeping on chugging, 10 hours in, keeping on chugging, no problem, just running along, running off of 100 calories per hour and body fat. And it's just absolutely amazing. And so my whole point about her being an assistant dean is this is not somebody that is just doing this and doesn't know what they're doing. This is a very intelligent, educated person who's been around the world, as we'll learn about in the interview. And also, she doesn't have anything to sell or anything like that. So she was just doing this and kind of happened across it by accident and started doing it, and it just started working for her. So just a real honest, great interview with her. And if you go and search Darbi Roberts, D-A-R-B-I, Darbi Roberts, Wales, and do a Google search, and you look at the images that come back, the top image is of her crossing the finish line, and the look on her face when she won, and is just one of the most happiest people I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's really cool, and we have her here. We have her here on the show. So let's go ahead and get started with Darbi Roberts, winner of Ironman Wales. Let's rock.
Welcome to the next level.
Hello?
Hey, Darbi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Brett. How are you?
All right.
And you're based out of Texas, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ever been down here?
Little known fact, I was born in Dallas.
No way. Cool.
Yeah, I don't sound like it. We moved when I was 4, so it was a long time ago. And I did Ironman Texas back in May. Mm-hmm. Not a good day for me, but
no.
I'm somewhat familiar with Texas.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ironman Texas back then. So it wasn't a good day for a lot of people. That was like the worst race ever.
Yeah, and in fact, it was like the opposite to how Ironman Wales unfolded.
Yeah.
I had been we talked about it a little over email, but So I work full time, and this past spring I was actually finishing my doctoral degree, and so I thought that it would be a great idea to try to fit in 2 Ironmans in a marathon between April and May, which didn't go very well because I spent most of my spring writing my dissertation and not putting in nearly as much time into training.
Right.
And just focus and stress and all that sort of stuff, because, fitting training on top of a 9-to-5 workday, on top of writing a dissertation, on top of coaching people turned out to be kind of my limit in terms of what I could sort of handle. I have pretty good time management skills, but I think that was the most I've ever had to deal with, and my body and my brain were just completely exhausted, and so my fitness just wasn't there. And I think come race day, I was overworked and exhausted. I defended at the end of April and still was in the process of making edits and that sort of stuff. Anyway, so the day came, the swim was fine. On the bike, it was just, I had told myself I was going to hang out with, try to hang out with a couple of other women, and I ended up finding myself near Kelly Williamson, who, I was thinking, oh, well, she's good. She's won in the past. It was her and someone else. I can't remember. But we had been passed by a ton of people, and I was thinking to myself, this isn't good, because, I knew my running fitness wasn't awesome at that point, and I was concerned about getting off the bike so far back from all of the other people, because I was afraid I wasn't going to really be able to make any moves on the run. And so I thought to myself, well, it's either now or never. So kind of at mile, because I think it was a 95 mile course, at mile 80, I was like, okay, well, I need to make my move now, and this is just what I'm going to do. And I had thought to myself, what if Kelly Williamson is having a bad day too? And now I'm pacing myself off of Kelly Williamson, who's having a horrible day, because you never know what other people are doing. Anyway, long story short, I cooked myself in the last 15 miles, and then got off on the run and was just dead, completely destroyed, and ended up dropping out early on. I guess about maybe 5 or 6 miles in, but it was just,
you could tell that early on that it wasn't going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was my throat was closing up. I was dizzy. I was seeing spots in front of my eyes. It was major heat exhaustion. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's kind of point of no return. Once you're cooked, you can't really ever come back from it unless you stop, and then you're sitting there for an hour waiting for your body to cool down. It's kind of well, what's the point at this point? So anyway, it was not a good day.
I was out that same morning, and I live an hour to the west of there. So it's the exact same conditions that you were in. And I did a long bike ride. I was training for Ironman Canada, and I did a long bike ride and a brick run, and I was about an hour into that brick run, and I started seeing spots and was just dizzy and all over the place. Yeah. And it was the heat until the storm came through. It was actually incredibly hot and humid. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about it later. I kind of wanted to ask you about how you keep fluid levels up and stuff doing the more fat adapted, because my experience and from what I understand is you got to work a little bit harder to keep your hydration up because of that whole thing where people when people try to go to low carb, the first bit of weight that they lose is mostly water weight because carbs hold on to water.
Right.
We get to that second. What do you get in your or what did you finish your PhD? What did you get it in?
Yeah, it was in international education development at Teachers College, which is one of the graduate schools at Columbia University. And I work, my full-time job is also at Columbia, but I don't work at Teachers College. I work in a different graduate school. But I work with, the school is the School of International Public Affairs, but what I do is mainly student services and student affairs. Which is kind of a catch-all for the student experience, broadly writ. But we have about 50% international students and 50% domestic. So it's an interesting group of students. A lot of them go into development work.
Right.
But my dissertation was is about international higher education, and how universities become more international in many different ways, like recruiting international students, increasing language programs, partnerships, study abroad, all sorts of stuff. So
wow, yeah, I had just learned about American University in Iran. Is that what it is?
There's an American university in Afghanistan which was recently bombed, or there was a hostage situation there, I think.
That might have been the one, and the big surprise was people like me that didn't know about it. We were saying, what? There's Americans going to university there? And no, it's a university that's styled after the American method of upper education. Of sorts, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Their perception of it, or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people think this is totally not triathlon related, but a lot of people think that it's actually a branch campus of American University in Washington, D.C., but it's not. It's exactly what you said. It is an American-style university, and they have them all over the place. They have them all over the Middle East.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like an American University of Sharjah. There's one in Kuwait. Sharjah is one of the Emirates in the UAE. They have one in Kuwait. They have one in I want to say they have one in Dubai. I think they have one in I'm drawing a blank, but there's at least a dozen of them sort of scattered all over Middle East and Central Asia. And really the reason they use the term American University is because people want an American style education because they automatically assume quality along with an American name, which is not always the case, of course. But
well, I've been on the campus at Columbia just briefly walking through. I was visiting John Hirsch, who lives over there near the campus. Yeah, and was walking through. That was really nice.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous campus.
I've been where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like I live about a 10-minute walk from campus, so it's pretty close for me. I don't do the whole New York commuter thing. It's not really my favorite thing to be squished into a metal tube, hurtling at 50, 60 miles an hour on my morning commute.
No, I don't like that either. I'm very big into being as close as where you need to be as possible.
Yeah.
For efficiency. So, speaking of efficiency, we are talking a lot about metabolic efficiency and UCAN, because UCAN sent me an email and said, "Hey, you have to talk to Darbi, Dr. Darbi now." Because she's been using UCAN and she just won Ironman Wales, and I already knew that Wales was really hard. Yeah. And then I was reading up on it, and it's even harder. The bike course is even harder than Ironman Canada. I think it's like probably 66, 67, 6,800 feet of elevation gain. And then the conditions can be real iffy,
Right.
And so this was like a killer race. And so then I was looking you up, Darbi, and trying to get some background on you, and so I had good questions for the interview, and where you come from, And there was an interview with you on I guess it was on YouTube or something about a year or so ago, and you were interviewing with one of the I guess Varun from UCAN, and he was asking you how you were doing, because you'd done well in some races, and you were a pro, and it was so funny in that video. I don't know the last time you've seen that video, but you were like hoping to win something. And like, well, good luck, and I was like, she won.
It was probably last November, because I think Ironman Arizona last year was probably, before this past, before Wales, was definitely my best race at that point. I had just done a 9:05, which got me 4th place. So that was like super exciting. That was I would say that was a breakthrough race for me. And yeah, so I think that was probably the podcast
And
or the webinar.
How hard Ironman Wales is in comparison is 9:05 got you fourth in that race. You got 10 hours and just a few seconds at Wales, and that got you first.
Right, exactly.
That's really, really hard. And because a lot of the stuff about metabolic, about trying to not eat as much sugar is, you're going to need your sugar for hard climbs and sprints and stuff like that. Well, this bike course was insane.
Yeah,
Wales, right? Am I right about that? I haven't been there.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. There were several sections that it was impossible to get up the hill without standing.
Wow.
And not even just standing, like really wrenching on the pedals.
Yeah, like wrenching the bike back and forth and really working it. And then the other thing is, in the race review I think I read about it on Slow Twitch, you powered through and passed the lady in first, with 6 miles or 5 or 4 miles left in the run.
1 mile, actually. It was in the last mile.
Last mile. You still had the energy to be passing people at the very end. So I'm totally all ears. I want to hear about this and how you're training and how you're fueling and doing this stuff. And I've got a cup of coffee with some avocado oil in it, actually.
Nice.
Because I found, have you ever tried avocado oil?
I have. I cook with it. I cook with that and coconut oil a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like hardly anything. It's really pleasant. So I got a cup of coffee in my hand, and I'm here to listen. And one of my first questions is, I believe I read somewhere that maybe you only took in 100 calories per hour or something crazy like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, and actually it was less than that. My total calorie count was 880, plus a shot of Coke at the end, Coca-Cola.
For the pass.
But yeah, throughout the. So yeah, it was all UCAN. I don't really consume anything other than that, just because at this point I know I trust it, and I know that my body can get through it on that amount of calories. I had a little bit of extra just stowed away in case I needed some, because I knew it was going to be a longer day. But I still have a breakfast in the morning, which that morning I think was 1 packet of UCAN, which is about 130 calories, and then I had just a nut and date bar. Yeah. Dates are a little bit higher in sugar, but, in the grand scheme of things that day, I didn't think it was going to totally ruin me. I forgot to bring my normal protein bars that I usually have, and then I had some peanut butter on it or something like that. So my breakfast was probably, 500, 600 calories, and I have that, solid 2 hours beforehand. But then, swim as usual. I drink some water, leading up to just before the race. And then really on the bike, I have 2 bottles of about 5 packets of UCAN, which if it's a non-protein version of that, that's 110 calories per packet, so it's about 550 calories. Yeah. And I'll put it really concentrated into 2 different bottles. And all I have to do is finish the first bottle by halfway and finish the second bottle by the end. And it's super simple. And it's easy to sort of hit those targets. I usually take a sip about every 5 miles or so. That's what my watch. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
Oh, no. So I do that on the bike. So that's 550 calories on the bike. And then on the run, I take 3 more packets of 110 calories each and sort of mix it super thick and stick it in 2 different gel flasks. Yeah. And then I have one of those in T2 that I'll grab and sort of sip on over the course of the first half. And then I've got the other one in special needs that I'll pick up halfway and finish that one. And that's pretty much it. I chose to have the Wales running course is a 4-loop course, and it's basically 3 miles uphill out of town and 3 miles downhill back into town. Wow. And I knew at that point, on the way back in, I think I had maybe 2 miles left to go, and there was an aid station right at mile 24, and so I think I knew that she was in front of me, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't know how fast I was gaining on first place.
Mm-hmm.
But just for safe measure, I was like, you know what, I could use a little extra go juice right now. So I just took a little cup of Coca-Cola, but really it was just for the caffeine. And in 2 miles, it's not going to do much to you anyway. But
yeah, I
don't know, maybe it was placebo. But yeah, and that was pretty much it. So I mean, counting all that up, that's about 880 calories over 10 hours, which is even less. And I did the same thing for Arizona as well.
So do you ever get hungry during the race?
Not really.
Why not? Why do you think you don't get hungry?
I don't know. It just, I mean, I do know it's because, you know, my blood sugars are stabilized not only by the UCAN, but the fact that, you know, what I put in my body on a daily basis, generally speaking, keeps my blood sugar levels very, very steady and even. Yeah. You know, and I like, it's to the point where even now, I mean, I feel bad for UCAN because I don't actually end up using a ton of their products when I train because
when you use it
I don't need to.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have like, they have, you know, if I'm going off on a super long ride, maybe I'll take a bottle of UCAN, but they have bars as well. And so usually I'll just grab one of the bars. Those are about 150 calories. And I might have like one of those on a 4-hour ride. Yeah. And that's it. And the rest is just hydration because my body at this point, you know, burns so efficiently off of fat as fuel that I literally never get hungry. And I might, you know, I'll get hungry afterwards, maybe later in the day, even, you know, the next day or something like that. But it's not, you know, I'm not sitting there thinking to myself, like, gosh, I really wish I had a sandwich right now, you know?
Yeah, that's really, I know a lot of people identify with this. If you have a good workout where you work out pretty hard, you're actually not hungry afterwards for a little while, you know? And I think if you could benefit from that, you get that going during an Ironman, that those hormones that kind of turn off your hunger a little bit because you're fine. Then you actually don't get hungry. So the how did you get fat adapted, or what do you like to call it? I know there's different phrases for it.
So my coach, Greg Close, who's also a UCAN athlete, and he's the owner of Tri by 3 Performance Coaching, which is the company, the group that I coach for and train with and race for.
Yeah.
He's actually, he introduced me to this whole idea in the first place. And that's because he is coached by Bob Seebahar, who's based out of I guess Boulder, or somewhere in Colorado Springs. I'm not sure which one, but he was a former nutritionist for the USAT national team, and actually was very involved early on with the development of UCAN, because basically he knew that UCAN was developed for a kid who had a metabolic disease.
Right.
And, you know, they had to like wake him up every 3 hours at night so that he could actually eat food. Otherwise his blood sugars would crash and he would die, basically. And so they developed this product for him as a medical response to his metabolic disease. And then Bob Seebahar was like, well, you need to market that because that's going to change, you know, that's going to revolutionize, you know, the triathlon nutrition. Anyway, so and Bob has this whole organization and group that does metabolic efficiency training and certifies people to help others figure out how to become metabolically efficient. My coach, Greg, is certified in that, and I've kind of it's mostly been so I spent a little bit of time learning from him on, like, you know, here are the things that you need to eat, and here are the things that you want to cut out. I read Bob's book. And then from there, it was sort of a period, it was just a process of trial and error. So I started by just cutting out grains, but I still ate like potatoes, and I would eat a lot of starchy vegetables, and like beans and legumes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I noticed a solid change. I was like, okay, well, this is, you know, it was going pretty well. And then I think maybe a year later, I've been doing this for about two and a half years,
right.
Almost 3 years, because I started it when I first went pro, which is the beginning of 2014. But, you know, felt like it was going well, but kind of wanted to see if I could take it a step further. So then I cut out most starchy vegetables. I don't really eat potatoes. I'll have some French fries every once in a while as a splurge sort of thing.
Right.
But for the most part, I'll substitute like turnips instead of potatoes because they have a lower carbohydrate count.
Right.
And still have a lot of the vitamins and that sort of stuff that you would get out of potatoes, like potassium and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing I cut out was legumes, other than peanut butter, because I will never give up my peanut butter. But
peanut butter is really high in fat, so
it is. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I didn't really feel too bad about it. I mean, I guess I could eat almond butter instead, but peanut butter, there's just something about peanut butter that I love. So that's the only legume I haven't cut out, but I've cut out all others because, again, they're, really sort of high in starch.
Yeah.
And there's other types of protein. I mean, really all it was doing for me was giving me extra protein, and there were other better sources of protein that had like a higher fat content that would be more metabolically efficient for me. So, it was just kind of over time seeing how far I could take it and see how much I could stretch. I don't follow a ketogenic diet, which is kind of takes metabolic efficiency to the super extreme. You're talking like less than 10% of your calories are coming from carbohydrates. You're having like less than 100 grams of carbs every day. Mm-hmm. I haven't quite gotten there yet, and I'm not sure that I ever probably will.
Right.
But I feel like at this point I've got just over a period of time, trial and error, have slowly gotten myself to where I am, to the point where, I can go do a 10-hour Ironman on 880 calories. So,
did you come from the angle like to do your daily diet first, or the angle of cutting back on carbs during your workouts and like saying like substitute UCAN in first? Because I've tried doing the daily diet first, and I know that's very important, of course, obviously, and then and it really wasn't working for me very well, and then I thought, well, maybe if I just do workouts where I'm not taking in hardly any sugar, any carbs, then that will kind of up my fat metabolism a little bit, and then the daily diet will be easier. Or did you kind of do them both at the same time over time?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using UCAN since before I went pro. So, I mean, I was using UCAN as my nutrition before I started doing a metabolically efficient diet. Mm-hmm. And it worked fine for me. I mean, it worked okay. I certainly am faster now than I was then.
Right.
I'm also fitter now, so it's kind of hard to tell which one had the most impact. But, I used the product before I bought into the lifestyle of, high fat, low carb diet, mm-hmm. metabolic efficiency, all of that sort of stuff. In fact, I specifically remember telling Greg he was crazy that I was never going to cut grains out of my diet.
Yeah.
Because I like cookies too much. And so, obviously that didn't last. But the reason it didn't, there was a very specific turning point at the very beginning of my pro career, which was my first pro race. Mm-hmm. I went to Panama. It was a half, and I think it was in February, and it was in the middle of the worst winter we had so far in New York. I'm pretty sure we got maybe 16 or 18 inches of snow dumped overnight the morning I was supposed to go to the race. Mm-hmm. And my flight got canceled. Anyway, long story short, I went. It was a horrible race. I DFL'd, and I said to myself, gosh, I should probably make a few changes about the way that I'm approaching my training as a pro, because obviously what I used to do is not going to work anymore. And that was kind of I was not planning on quitting my job, and I figured, one of the easiest things to change is your diet, because it's just a matter of your choices you're making. You don't actually have to carve out extra time for training or rest or massages or whatever. It's just a matter of eating different things. And so I was like, well, I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. And then just found that, by doing that, it made the UCAN even more effective. And I should say that, I coach other athletes. Some of them use UCAN, some of them don't. Some of them are less or more metabolically efficient than others. A lot of extreme is a word that a lot of people like to use to sort of describe this diet. And I don't think that it is necessarily extreme, but I also understand that it's a serious commitment and that it's not for everybody, and that not everybody needs to follow it in order to perform well. You can still do, and I did my fastest amateur Ironman was a 9:30, still on a normal, non-metabolically efficient diet. So certainly you can still go fast without it. It's just the question is, how much faster could you go, or how much longer could you go if you are metabolically efficient? And that question was the most important one to me.
Yeah.
So,
and then maybe you could dispel for people the theory of how, when they say, once you get over a certain point of effort, you need carbs. And there's been times where I've gotten myself, totally in the fat burning mode, and I've done intervals on the bike or intervals in the pool, intervals doing anything, and it feels like there is no top end. Like I can just keep going and going and going harder and harder, and the fat metabolism is just fine for energy.
I actually don't. I can't think in recent memory of a time when I bonked as a result of not having enough, like calories or sugar or readily available glycogen in my muscles. I've done a 3:03 marathon on basically nothing.
Yeah.
I think I may have had I think I may have had one UCAN bar the entire time.
Wow.
And did a 9:05 Ironman, which is not. I like to think that I was working pretty hard on that one. And I can tell you my heart rate was in the towards the end, it was definitely in the 160s. So, and that for me is nearing threshold, if not over it. Certainly if I went out and ran 20 miles at above threshold, I think I would die, but probably most people wouldn't. It's not because of lack of glycogen. It's because you've, completely overburned yourself. I've just personally never experienced that.
Yeah, I think when they've done the tests on people and they show them bonking, it's on people that are used to burning sugar as fuel.
Sure,
and then they blow out. And then there was that fascinating test. I forgot what it was called, but Zach Bitter and some other guys participated in it, I think. And they took people that were actually metabolically efficient and been eating a higher fat diet, then put them on the treadmill, and then kept ramping it up, and they kept going like higher and higher and higher. It was pretty cool. So, what have you found as far as hydration with salt? Like, how do you? What I found was this: when I first started trying to do higher fat, lower carb, I got dehydrated. But see, down here in Texas, it's unbelievably hot most of the year.
Oh yeah,
and as you experienced, and so the whole thing where I was saying earlier, where when people go low carb and most of the weight they lose at first is water weight, because one carb holds on to 4 molecules of water or something like that. I forgot what it is. And when you deplete your system of the extra carbs, it also takes a lot of water out with it. And so how do you find your way to stay hydrated
enough in races and just in your workouts and daily life. Has that been a problem? Have you even noticed that, what I'm talking about? Or does that seem foreign to you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I know that everybody sweats a lot, especially if you're doing, if you're an Ironman triathlete, chances are you're more likely, it's more likely that you're going to be a super sweater than not. But I actually used to live in the Middle East for 3 years before I moved to New York.
Cool.
And I was there in 2007 to 2010. And that's actually where I picked up long distance endurance sports. So I ran across the country. I was about 36 miles at one point, not when it was hot, but I used to cycle all summer long. And in the summer there, it's like, above 50 degrees Celsius, which is 125 degrees.
Holy cow. Wait, you never said what country. Where were you?
Qatar.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was working for a university over there. But yeah, so I mean, we would get up at like 3 a.m. to go bike because the sun got up at 4 a.m. and try to bike for as long as you could last before it got, so unbearable that you couldn't bike anymore. But it when we were starting, it would be 100 degrees.
Wow.
At the beginning of our ride, and we'd be ending at like 110. So, I mean, I think maybe my body learned how to cool itself pretty well. Although, I mean, when you look at Texas, that's not necessarily the case. But I think, I don't know, maybe I picked up some super sweating skills when I was over there. But I also thankfully have a high, at least what seems to me to be a high absorption rate. So, right, there's two aspects of dehydration. There's the sweat rate, but then there's also the absorption rate.
Right.
So, how fast does your body actually absorb the water that you're ingesting? And mine seems to do just fine with that. And I do use, so I do supplement partially with UCAN Hydrate, which is their hydration, like not electrolyte replacement drink.
Right.
But I also use base salts on hotter races, so that helps for sure.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, I haven't been awesome at hot races. I went to Kona twice as an age grouper, and neither of them were a particularly good day for me.
Right.
Well,
you gotta be experienced with that. Like you gotta be in it to like recently, or else, having been in it years ago is good mental training, but as far as like physiologically.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I know going from winter into summer, winter into spring here in Texas, I have to recalibrate how much water I'm drinking. I'll have a couple rides where I get so dehydrated, and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe how much I need to drink.
Yeah. Because
over the winter, you cool off a lot.
Yeah. Well, and to that end, it's just paying attention to it on a regular basis or on a daily basis. So I take like, a water bottle that's a liter to work, and I fill it up once in the morning. And if, I don't always finish it by the afternoon, but if I do, then I'll fill it up again. So I just kind of keep it there as my sort of daily reminder to drink lots of water and try to I have probably at any given time, like 3 different, like liters of water, water bottles in the fridge that I just sort of sip on from time to time. So,
do you add any extra salt to any of your food at all, like consciously, or just kind of don't really think about it?
No, not really. I mean, I cook a lot. I cook with a lot of different types of vinegar, so that helps for sure. And I do I put like salt on my eggs, but in the morning when I have breakfast, and I put like balsamic vinegar on my salad, so that adds a little bit.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
so good.
yeah, and like when I cook in the evenings, I'll add that to it, but I don't add a ton of salt. I certainly am not, like when I eat nuts, they're usually raw nuts, so it's not like I'm having a ton of salt like I'm not having salty nuts every day or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I've done some blood work, periodically, and my sodium levels are never are usually normal and within range. So I'm not nervous about that particularly.
So when you get up in the morning and you are getting ready to go train, are you eating anything, or are you training early in the morning before you go to work? And you train on an empty stomach, or are you having a snack first, or what does that look like?
Yeah, usually I do a fasted workout, not really on purpose, but just because I want to get as much sleep as possible, and I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. before I have to go swim at 6 or run at 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, if I eat anything, it'll be maybe, like if I know it's going to be a really long workout, I might eat a UCAN bar. I might eat a scoop of peanut butter.
Mm-hmm. I've done that. Yeah.
Or even a handful of almonds or something like that, just to get a little bit in my stomach. But typically I don't really ever feel like I need anything, and most of the time my morning workout is shorter than my evening workout. So at the very most, I'll be doing an hour and a half in the pool, or 8 to 10 miles of running, which both of those things I can easily get through without any added calories. So
one of the upsides is you can get up and get going without having to eat something and then letting that settle. So it's like more time efficient.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the only situation that's not the case is if I'm doing a long run on a weekend and I want to get it in before breakfast, but don't want to do it on an empty stomach. And so, like if I'm doing, anywhere between 12 and 18 is usually the most I'll do before an Ironman. But if I'm doing anywhere between 12 and 18, I'll usually have some UCAN beforehand. But that's about it. I might have one packet or a scoop or two or something like that.
Yeah. What's your favorite flavor? What do you like?
For daily stuff, I love the Cocoa Delight.
That's good.
It's really tasty. And every single day I have a smoothie with a scoop of Cocoa Delight, some protein powder, a scoop of peanut butter, some cinnamon, and milk. And that is, I look forward to it every day.
Wow.
And that'll be after my workout, so it'll be nice, high in protein. It'll replace some of the carb, some of the energy that I lost in the workout. Have a little good bit of fat in it too. So
that's funny that you mentioned that, because my son and I just went mountain biking, and he's 11, so he can run out of energy. we go for an hour. And so I've been trying to get him to fuel with anything. We can get weird with fat metabolism and stuff later on in life. I'm just trying to get him to just to do anything. Because kids are so hard to make them eat or drink enough. And so so we've tried Gatorade and this, that, and the other. And maple syrup is actually pretty interesting because it's slower. It's a slower sugar than Gatorade. And so I made him a water bottle with with a couple tablespoons of maple syrup in it. So it's real diluted and stuff. And he tasted it and he goes, blah! I don't like that at all. He said, Dad, do you have any of that chocolate UCAN? Because I let him taste it one time. And I said, yeah, actually, I think I do. And I dug it out and made him a thing. He goes, I like this. Because it tastes like a milkshake.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so he drank that. We went mountain biking for an hour, and he was fine. And racing me at the end of it, actually.
There we go.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
cool.
I don't like to race with that. I'll usually go for the orange or the pomegranate blueberry for during a race, but for an everyday sort of thing, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool. And it's cool that they have all the different flavors. And then, so for a meal, let's say you're sitting down. This is so fascinating. To me, I'm sorry for all the weird questions.
No, it's fine.
But you're sitting down with a plate of food.
Yeah.
And you can tell me what it is in a second. But do you dribble olive oil and avocado oil and coconut oil on stuff to add extra fat to it? Because just the veggies, like we were talking about earlier, that's not enough calories at all.
right,
day in and day out. So what do you do to add more fat to your food?
Yeah. Well, so for like I'll have a giant salad for lunch, and I'll douse it in olive oil or avocado oil or something like that. Something that's like coconut oil doesn't work for that because it's solid at room temperature.
Right.
But yeah, so I'll do that. I eat a lot of cheese, so that adds a good bit of fat to my diet. I have like a whole avocado pretty much every single day. And I eat the whole egg, not just the egg whites.
Oh yeah, I don't know why people do that. That drives me crazy.
Well, and I might, yeah. I mean, if I want to eat like more than, I typically have 3 eggs for breakfast, and I'll have it with coconut oil, and I'll cook it in coconut oil. But if I feel like I need more protein than just 3 eggs, and I don't want all the cholesterol, then I might add some additional egg whites in there. But I'm going to eat the egg yolks of the other 3 eggs first. Yeah. But bacon always helps. That's a great that's a great source of fat. And when I cook, like when we cook dinner, it's vegetables, and they're cooked almost all the time in either olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil. And because I can't even remember the last time I steamed vegetables. Partially because you lose a lot of the nutrients when you put them in water.
Right. You should steam them or microwave them, I've heard.
It just kills everything. But because it makes sense, right? Because if you look at, like, if you steam vegetables, if you steam broccoli, and then you look at the water that's left over at the bottom of the pan after you cook the broccoli, it's green.
Yeah, that's all the green. Yeah.
Because that's where all the vitamins are. So I tend not to, if I cook any vegetables in water, it's to make like a soup or something. But we have basically one cast iron skillet that sits on the oven, or sits on the stove constantly, and I just sort of saute vegetables in that all the time, over and over again. Yeah. And so it's got all that residual flavor, but it's always got that fat in it to make it just a little extra. And then of course eating nuts certainly adds a lot of fat, and I try to eat, I don't when I eat dairy, it's not skim, it's either 1% or 2% milk, maybe half fat yogurt, not non-fat. So
yeah, I found something that's been working for me has been just adding a little bit of oil, like avocado oil or olive oil, or you can buy MCT oil, or coconut butter to whatever I'm eating. Just because I think as Ironman athletes, we need a lot of calories to get through the day. And so if you just eat a normal, healthy-sized portion of food, what we consider, for a normal person, it's actually not enough calories. And then, so let's say you try to eat healthy, quote unquote American healthy, which would be like just to say the salad, and some veggies and whatever, and then you add on to it your avocado. Down here in Texas, we have guacamole like all over the place. It's fantastic for that. So like guacamole, and then avocado oil or olive oil or coconut oil, kind of on that, just for like to make it greasy. And then all of a sudden now you're at a way higher fat ratio, and you're still eating healthy stuff with it, stuff with your vitamins and fiber. Sure. And recently I've been doing that, and that seems to be working for me. And then I'm going into workouts going, man, I hardly need anywhere near as many calories as I used to during a workout.
Yep. Yeah. So exactly.
Where do you find places to ride your bike around? You're in New York. You're in downtown New York City. So, do you ride the trainer a lot?
Yeah, most of my weekday miles are going to be on the trainer. I think sometimes in the summertime, if I get out of work a little bit early, I might go for a longer ride outside of the city, but it takes about 20 minutes to get out of the city. So, 40 minutes total travel time on the bike, just kind of light spinning, going through traffic, that sort of stuff. And by the time, you're over there, you only have you've wasted a good portion of your time. So if I have limited time or I'm supposed to do, an hour and a half or 2 hour ride, the 2 hour ride, I might go over the bridge. So I live in northern Manhattan, and there's a bridge that's very close to me that you take to get over to New Jersey. And then once you're in New Jersey, there's a really great bike route called 9W. And anybody from New York knows exactly what that is and where that is. And it's always crowded on the weekends because everybody rides it.
That can be kind of fun though, right? Like a whole bunch of people out there riding.
Oh yeah. It's like it's the place to be seen on the weekends. For sure.
That's cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I've got a route like that here, but it's like 20 people.
Yeah. We're talking like sometimes as many. I mean, I've some summers or even in the fall if it's a nice weekend. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds of people out.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Keeps you entertained. And you've got a long ride seem to go by faster.
Right. Well, and it goes for, 100 miles north. I mean, I think you can take it all the way. I've ridden it all the way to, you have to cross over to the other side of the river at some point. But it's kind of continuous bike routes all the way up to Poughkeepsie, which is 100 miles north from here.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. But again, accessibility, I usually ride that on the weekends, or I might go out to Long Island or something like that. But weekday, it's all trainer work.
So do you, on the trainer, do you ride, there's like the Zwift, video game, or what do you do to entertain yourself on the trainer?
Mostly just music, honestly. I try to stay as low tech as possible. So I've got a power meter, and it's just a normal fluid trainer. And my coach gives me my intervals and power zones, and I just kind of stick to it and, put on some motivating music and go at it.
No TV or anything?
No, we actually don't have a TV in our house.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's a vestige from my dissertation days because I couldn't afford to be distracted.
Right.
So I mean, certainly I have a computer that we watch movies on and that sort of stuff. But
yeah. I found that if it's good enough to watch, you'll hear about it. You can probably find it on the computer.
Exactly. Watch the highlights on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, with a kid around, we don't want to we don't want him to grow up thinking he's been punished or anything like that. So we have TV here,
right?
And, lots of times saying, "Turn it off," so that we can actually enjoy each other instead of sitting there zoning out on the TV.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool that you don't watch anything while riding the trainer. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my longest trainer ride will be only about 2 hours, so it's not like I'm spending hours and hours and hours on the trainer. I think if it was anything longer than that, I think my max is about 2 hours before I start getting really, my mind starts wandering. But the intervals that I do usually are between, I switch it up pretty much every 5 to 8 minutes. So it's not like, there was only maybe twice that I ever this summer had to do like 20-minute time trials. That's not fun. Yeah. On a trainer with nothing to distract you. But also, at the same time, like I think, so I do a little bit of yoga as part of my training regimen, mostly not necessarily, I mean, partially for, the strength and the stretching, but also for the mental toughness. And I think that's one thing that I gained a lot over the summer from doing so much work on the trainer is just mental toughness. And I think for me, at least, when you have things to distract you during your intervals, you're probably not doing your intervals as well as spot on as you should be. And B, that's not what a race is like, right? So during a race, you're holding a fairly uncomfortable effort for very long periods of time with nothing to distract you but your own thoughts. And so to put yourself in a training environment where you constantly have things distracting you, to me doesn't seem, at least for me in the past, has not been a good way of mentally preparing myself to race. Right. So that's also why I try to reduce. I mean, I even go back and forth on listening to music, but at the end of the day, it's just, I can't make it through a trainer ride without music just because it's just that boring. Yeah. But, you know, I don't run with music. When I swim, you know, it's just focusing on what I'm doing in that particular moment. I try to live in the moment as much as possible and just think about what I'm doing at that particular second.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've had people comment to me before, like, man, you rode like 3, 4, or 5 hours out there in the middle of nowhere with nothing.
Yeah.
No people or anything. And I'm like, yeah, it's good training. And once you get used to it, it's not that bad.
No.
So,
no.
Yeah, and when people comment that they're all alone on a bike ride, like during a race, they'll say, like an Ironman race, they'll say, I was out there by myself for like an hour or 20 minutes and it sucked. And I think it's actually good. I like being out there because then you can make better choices instead of reacting to other people.
For sure.
Yeah. So what about, what kind of bike are you on?
So right now I'm riding a Guru, and I've had the same bike for, I want to say 3 years now. Mm-hmm. Guru is a company that's no longer, unfortunately, in business. They made some really great bikes. It's really unfortunate. I think, you know, maybe it was their business model wasn't particularly sustainable because, you know, they handmade most of their bikes. Mm-hmm. My bike was handmade, you know, hand welded and everything. And it's a CR901. It's got like, I don't do electronics shifting. I have Ultegra Durace parts. I have a Quark Elsa power meter. Mm-hmm. And I race on head wheels. So,
right.
But you know, it works for me. It's not exactly, you can't compare it to most of the other, you know, super bikes out there, but, it's about the engine, not the chariot, or the horse, not the chariot. So.
Right, and that goes back to the whole metabolism thing. That in the stuff I saw and read on you was like, because you're kind of a part-time pro, I guess, mm-hmm. full-time day job, then you need to make sure your angle to be successful was to make mm-hmm. sure that you're as efficient with your engine as efficient as possible, mm-hmm. to make up for, there's other people out there training like half again as much possibly mm-hmm. as you are.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, well, are you shopping around for a bike sponsor, or have people been approaching you? I mean, winning a full Ironman's a pretty big deal. You probably got a lot of attention like after that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. My coach Greg mm-hmm. handles most of the sponsorships for the team, mm-hmm. And I don't know if he has something cooking up. I know he rides a Ventum right now, and I know there's quite a few people on the team that ride Ventums. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what the next step is going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's it's what has the reaction been like from you winning? Like people banging down your door to talk to you about stuff? And
yeah, I mean, I've had a few podcasts. So I did a podcast with UCAN. I did one with Cup of Tri that just came out today.
Oh, cool.
I think I've got I think I have one more lined up for maybe next week. But you know, it's actually really funny because most of the people in like my regular life, in my in my community at work, they didn't really. I mean, they knew I was like fit, and they knew that I was like athletic, and that I trained, and that I was, you know, I took care of my body and that sort of stuff. But I don't think they really knew like how much time I spend on it, and how fast I could potentially be. And so actually the outpouring has been mostly from my friends and my coworkers who are like, wait, what? I didn't know you did this so well. I didn't know you were that fast. Like, this is incredible. Oh my gosh. How did I not know this? So it's been kind of cool to sort of, I mean, part of it is, you know, I work at Columbia, and my title is assistant dean in the Office of Student Affairs, and so when students address me, they address me as Dean Darby, and I've always been known as kind of the fit dean. And I'm closer to their age than some of the other deans too. So I think, maybe that gives me some cool points. Yeah. But like the students were losing their minds over this.
So they found out. They
found out. Yeah. They found out. Someone posted on Facebook, and they have groups that they all have, that they're all in. And someone posted the article, the original article from Iron Man. And people were like, students were emailing me personally. They were posting on my Facebook wall. They were posting in the groups. They were, coming to my office to congratulate me personally. It was just so funny that that because they knew that I was fit, because I was the fit dean, but I think that they didn't really totally grasp how far I took it. So now my secret's out. I can't hide it anymore.
Yeah, my day job, I'd say I'm almost 100% of them could care less that I do triathlons. If people aren't into it, they don't want to hear about it.
Well, they actually do care. I mean, if you win
an Ironman, that's a whole other thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's why I never really talk about it a ton, is for the exact reason that you just said, which is that, when you've talked about it 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes too much. And, they are curious sometimes, and they're supportive, and they're happy for me that I lead a fit life, but they're not really into it. And so I don't get into these super detailed conversations about what kind of power meter I have, or the next Garmin watch that's going to come out.
Right.
And they have a general appreciation for it, but they don't it's not like they care, but then they've had a little bit of a different reaction this time around, which has been fun.
Yeah. So then, are you going? Is Kona the goal? Are you going to try? What do you need to do to qualify for Kona? If you do, are you going to go?
Yeah. I mean, that is the ultimate goal. It has been since I've started as a pro. Obviously, it's nobody expects to be going to Kona in the first year as a pro, but I'm sitting on 2,000 points now, and last year I think it went just below 4,000 points for the 35th woman to qualify, but I can't remember if that was an automatic qualification or not. But I figure if I can go into the summer with maybe 4,000 points, I'll be in a good place. Which, I picked up half of that. I'm hoping to pick up a good chunk at Arizona, and then maybe do another race in the spring, or another race or two, maybe just some halves or something like that. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on how Arizona goes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that is the ultimate goal, is to get to Kona. And if it happens next year, awesome. If it doesn't happen next year, then I'll go back to Wales again. I don't know. It's challenging courses seem to be. I'll do maybe Wales and Lanzarote, and then I'll be set.
Yeah,
so.
It dawned on me that just the other day that my highest performance, not my fastest time, but my highest ranked, relative ranking versus other competitors, was at one of the harder races I've ever done.
Yeah.
Austin was hot, and it's not really hilly, but it's pretty hilly. And it's a tough course. And that's where I did my best performance for a half Ironman versus the competition. Nice. And that really surprised me, because as a bigger guy, I'm just tall, so I'm carrying weight. You'd think all out flat would like Galveston or Florida would be my best, but it turns out no. The harder stuff was harder, or better for me. Well, are you going to change anything, or you think you got stuff kind of dialed in? And what would you change if you were changing anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, right now, with my swim, so my background is in swimming, so I rarely for that, it's just a matter of putting the time in the pool. Although there's always, you can always make, even at an elite level, you can always make changes to your swim stroke. And I do coach swim lessons, and actually coaching other swimmers tends to make my form better. So, that's really at this point, the only way to make myself faster is to get in the pool, is to have a more efficient stroke, as opposed to being fit. Cause I think I've sort of like reached the upper limits of my swim fitness. My swim at Wales was a 2.5 minute PR. Wow. But like coming off of 51, so I did like a 49 and change, which
I saw that.
Once you're there,
wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, once you're there, it's you don't really expect to get a whole lot faster than that, and I'm totally fine with that. But on the bike, I think my coach and I are going to try to squeeze a few more watts out of me between now and Arizona. I increased my FTP by probably 20 or 30 watts over the summer.
Oh, cool.
So I think that was
interval training or bike trainer.
Yeah, all trainer work, and certainly some outdoor stuff, because the stuff that we have outdoor, like the 9W that I was talking about, it's super hilly.
Oh, good.
So I'm sure that helped, but continuing to sort of hammer it on the trainer for a little bit longer and see if we can't get a few more watts out of me, and then potentially doing a little bit of an upgrade on the bike, and new wheels and that sort of stuff might help that as well. And then for the run, I think it's pretty much dialed in. I mean, I could always be a faster runner, sure, but between now and Arizona, at least, that's like the most immediate goal. I'm not really sure I can make it, it's not like I'm going to be running like Miranda Carfrae come 8 months from, 8 weeks from now. So
she's something else. Yeah. I tell you that people ought to go read the race report on Slow Twitch. It is so great because they write about it, like as it went along. And so they said, I forgot who the other competitor was, but she was had a big gap, 6 minutes or something like that on everybody on the run. So it just looked like that she was going to win. She was just going to coast it in. And then you passed her on the run. And that's pretty amazing that you're able to do
I was down. She had 13 minutes on me at the beginning of the marathon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did she look when you passed her? Was she coming apart, or she was steady?
Yeah.
And you were just fast?
No, she was. I mean, she was basically, she had slowed down to a crawl. I mean, I put, and I mean, she, to her effort, she put it all out on the line.
Oh, I've read a little bit about her. She's a badass.
Well, I mean, she set the bike course record.
Yeah.
That.
So she went out probably too hard. And then.
Well, yeah. I mean, even if she didn't, she probably went out with a goal to, kind of hammer it and see what she could do. And I think she opened up the beginning of the marathon pretty fast as well. And I don't know. I didn't talk to her to ask, I wasn't, your conversation at the finish line isn't going to be, so why did you, that's rude. But no, I mean, I think it was just a matter of me being consistent. I mean, I was running pretty close to the same pace the entire marathon. And in the last mile, I passed her in the last mile, and I put 2.5 minutes into her in the last mile. So, she was running at least a 9:30, if not a 10-minute mile.
Yeah.
By the time I caught her, which was like a solid 3 minutes slower than what she was running at the beginning. So, I think it was just the fact that everybody else was slowing down, and I kind of just stayed consistent.
How did you feel? That brings up a good question. How did you feel when you finished? Were you exhausted, or were you? I've heard where people that are more fat efficient aren't even that tired when they finish. Like tired. I mean, of course, you just did an Ironman, but you're not.
I was pretty tired.
Yeah, but then like they're not starving, or then they get around to eating when they think about it, kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, I think I finished, and my legs. I think my legs honestly, my legs hurt more than anything else, just because it's an Ironman, but also just because of the downhill.
Yeah.
So much downhill pounding was just killer on my quads. And my calves started seizing up a little bit when I stopped as well. Or sorry, my calves and my hamstrings. So my legs were definitely hurting, but I think that was more just from the elevation change, and I laid down on the floor and sort of sat there for a little bit and eventually got up. But, I went to the med tent, got some hot fluids, they had like some salty soup. And I had some of that and a little bit of coffee and was just I don't think I even ate any real food until probably 3 or 4 hours later.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool. How can people find you and get in touch with you besides your students?
Yeah, sure. Was that?
I said besides your students that have discovered that their dean is assistant dean is a world-class athlete.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny. They once I got the doctorate, they called me Dean Dr. Darby, and so now they've been calling me Dean Dr. Champion Darby.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
which is of course, obnoxious and unnecessary, but
that's funny.
Yeah, but no, so you can find me. I've got a blog. I don't actually remember the URL off the top of my or the top of my head, but I'm sure if you just Google my name and triathlete, it'll come up. We've got Tri-by-3 has a website, so it's just triby3.com. I've got a bio on there. There's information on our coaching and our classes and our training studio for anybody who's in New York. My Twitter handle is just at Darby Roberts.
And it's Darby with an I, DARBI.
Yeah. Roberts. I'm on Instagram. I don't think I have that many triathlete followers on Instagram, but yeah, any of those social media. I'm on Facebook. I don't have it's just my like me as a person. I don't have like a fan page or anything like that, but people can check me out, and then also Tri-by-3's on Facebook as well. So
very, very typical of somebody that's working a full-time job. And trying to do Ironman at the same time. You've only got so much time to do all that stuff.
Yeah, very true. I mean, my blog unfortunately doesn't have a ton of stuff on it, just because you're right. I don't have that much time to post. But I've been, although now that I'm not working on a dissertation anymore, I have significantly more time than I used to have. So I'm hoping to make that a little bit more active in the near future. But yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and
absolutely
good luck at Arizona and getting to Kona. I'm definitely going to be following. I find this fascinating, and people reach out and talk to you, and thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Darby. And as you can tell during the interview, I didn't know a bunch of those things about her being an assistant dean, or about that she was working on her PhD and just finished up her PhD and had lived all over the world. I didn't know all this stuff about her, about how smart she was going into this, and was really blown away about this. And man, I get UCAN just like everybody else. I go to their website and order it. I use the same discount code as I'm about to tell y'all. And I went right back out and ordered some more, and actually did chocolate. And man, it's actually really good. I never really thought about the chocolate one so much until Darby mentioned it. And I used it on my bike ride this morning, and did like almost 22 miles per hour for 3 hours on 100 calories per hour. No problem. It was great with chocolate. And you would think that wouldn't be good out on the bike, but actually it's really, really good. So if you like the interview and you want to find out more about UCAN, and you can go explore their site. And the discount code I use is ZenTri, ZenTri, all caps, 25% off. 25% off. So I ordered 2 containers, and it saved me quite a bit of money. And of course, they have all these different flavors and stuff. And also during the interview, I mentioned that my concerns about getting dehydrated, because when people go low carb, you lose fluid right off the bat. And I'd forgotten you can actually mix hydration solutions, or electrolytes, and you just shake it into your water. That's pretty cool. And I was like, oh yeah. This interview, I was all like, what do we do about salt and electrolytes? And well, there it is. But let's go ahead and get off of that and mention some show donors. So you can support ZenTri by going to zentriathlon.com, and you can look through all the old posts and interviews. They stay up there for quite a while. And on the left-hand side, we can go there right now. I love having the big computer right in front of me. Let's do this. We can go to zentriathlon.com. You think I'm not prepared, but I'm actually doing this on purpose, because if I type it in, you think about typing it in, and it makes you want to go do it yourself. A little bit of psychology right there. So let's go look. Big, beautiful web page with sponsors all over the place, and videos and posts on all over. And you can find out more about me. There's Who is Brett up at the top. That's kind of cool. See all the races and stuff I've done and attempted to do. And on the left-hand side of the page, if you scroll down a ways, you can see subscribe and donate buttons that are kind of PayPal-ish looking. And you can support the show, and you can do like $3.95 a month, or do like a one-time donation. And if you do that, you get my email address. And you can just send in a donation, or you can actually send in a question. Now that you have my email address, so we got a few questions in here we'll mix in during the reading of the donors. So here we go. Matthew Heintz, how's it going? And M. Webb, which we just had a email from. We read that. Kim B. And she's got a good email in here. And she says, hi, Brett. I was sorry to learn that you were pulling out of Uberman. So Uberman is happening, I think it's October 9th. It starts on a Sunday. And you swim from Catalina Island to the California shore. So it's like 22 miles. Maybe 21, open ocean with sharks, and then you bike over to Death Valley. This is all nonstop, by the way. You can stop if you want, but it's all nonstop. And that's like a 400-mile bike ride, and then you run the Death Valley race, Badwater 135, which starts below sea level and then finishes at not the top of Mount Whitney, but kind of close to the top. And that's one of the highest places in North America. So it's absolutely crazy. On paper, it looks like it might take about 5 days or more to finish it. And I was actually going to do it. I was lucky enough to be selected. I put in an application and asked if I could do it. And I was told yes. And then I didn't know what to do with myself. And then over the spring and summer, I just developed so many injuries and got kind of burned out training and racing so much. And I wanted to take a little bit of a break. And also, I had plantar fasciitis so bad I could barely run. And I thought, I need to take a break for a little bit and let my body heal up. And then also, Kai is, he just turned 12. And for years and years and years, it's been, well, I can't do this, I can't do that because I'm training or I'm racing or whatever. And he's such a good kid, and so is Emily, such a good wife. They're both like patient, and they're like, yeah, for Brett to be happy, he needs to do this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? While I'm healing, I need to do more with Kai. He's kind of transitioning from that phase where boys go from wanting mommy around so much to wanting to be more like dad. And also he's getting bigger and stronger, so he can actually keep up with me now with more stuff. And so, like I said, like doing the push runs and going mountain biking and stuff like that. So I'm spending less time training and more time with Kai. And he's also in Boy Scouts, which actually is part of the podcast later on. We talk a little bit about that. And so it's a perfect description. And he's just gone from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. And in Cub Scouts, moms kind of run the show, where they're the den mothers and they organize everything. And in Boy Scouts, dads kind of run it, and older boys kind of run it. And we kind of just let them out into the woods, and if they get hurt, they learn not to get hurt. And lots more hands-off, but a lot more kind of dad-oriented. And so we're involved with that. And so I need to spend more time with Kai. So this was a good time. Unfortunately for me doing Uberman, it was a bad time for that. But a good time for me to back off of the triathlon training a little bit and spend some time with Kai and develop him into, I don't know, it sounds weird, but kind of develop him into a young man a little bit more. And now's my time to be doing that. And that means putting ultra distance triathlon stuff on the back burner just briefly. And he wants to crew. He wanted to crew for me at Uberman. Like he's totally into it and likes it. I just needed to. It's just perfect storm of letting things heal while we do more with Kai. But anyway, it'll be more of the dad figure for Kai until he begins to hate me in 3 more years, I think probably. Because I'm like, no, you can't take the car until you finish your homework. I'm like, Dad, I hate you. All right, okay. But let's see. Kim says, I first heard about Uberman on your podcast. I'm a longtime listener, have donated in the past, and also bought my share of Hornet Juice. When you first started talking about it, I sent the link to my old friend Scott, who had been talking about wanting to do something big. Big challenge. I thought he'd get a chuckle out at seeing the details. Well, he actually wound up signing up for it, much to my surprise. I surely thought he must be joking, because Uberman is insane. Scott was kind enough to be my Sherpa this weekend at my first 70.3 in Santa Cruz. And while we were chatting, he mentioned that you were pulling out because of your foot problem. So yeah, the Scott guy was telling Kim that he had heard that I was pulling out. At any rate, I just wanted to let you know how bummed I am. I won't get to meet you at the race since I'll be helping crew Scott. I'll be there along in his race. I've never done any crewing before, so if you have any advice, please let me know. I have no idea what to expect and what Scott might need. Okay, so advice for crewing in the big races. Ultraman, Uberman, and some very few other races, you can actually crew live on the race course for your person that's racing. You can interfere. It's fine. Outside assistance, at times, there's kind of some rules on that kind of stuff. If they're on the bike, like an Ultraman, if they're on the bike, you can't hand them things from your car because it's just dangerous. But at the next intersection, you can stop, pull over, and then get out of your car and hand them stuff as they go through the intersection. It's kind of cool. But what works, and I learned this from other people, is hand signals, because you can see somebody doing hand signals from far away and kind of get stuff ready. So when they get to you, you can get them the right stuff. Or if they're feeling terrible and can't talk much, don't want to talk, they can just do hand signals. So ahead of the race, you need to develop your hand signals. And we did this for when I did my own self-supported Ultraman. Kai and I, he would jog with me, and we talked about before the race the hand signals we were going to use. It was like 1 finger up means water, 2 fingers means fuel, 3 fingers means don't give me anything, I'm fine. A fist means I feel like crap, or thumbs down I feel like crap. Thumbs up means I feel good. Just like not too many, because you won't be able to remember them all. But it really helps. This is good stuff also for ultra swimming, like marathon swimming, from the water. You can, while you're swimming, you can, hold things, a finger up in the air, and that means you want water, fresh water, to drink. 2 fingers means fuel. 3 fingers means fuel and water, I think, something like that. I don't know. I forgot what we did, but it works. So that'll be huge for you to know. And then when you start getting well into the race and your person starts feeling like crap and is mean to you, do not believe them. When they're that rude, they're just frustrated. They're probably having low blood sugar, and that makes you really grumpy. So they'll feel fine in a little bit. If you can't, man, it'd be great. You won't have time. It'd be funny to record somebody when they're having a shit fit, and then later they could hear how mean they were being. So maybe drop a contract that during the race, if somebody says something mean, that after the race you'll disregard it. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, best wishes for you. I hope your plantar fasciitis heals quickly, and I look forward to following along on your next challenge. I have a secret wish to join you one year for Iron Baby. So every year, except last year I did an Ultra Baby, I do self-supported Ironman and raise money for the March of Dimes. And people can come join me. The March of Dimes has been a special place in your family in our family too, and anything that supports them is awesome in my book. Best wishes, Kim. All right, cool. Thanks for the email, Kim. That was really neat and really helpful for all these people listening. Chad Perlin sent in a donation. Sam Pearson has a question. Where'd it go? Hey, Brett, I have a question about the swim portion of 70.3. I'm racing in Bahrain, which I believe has a wetsuit swim for a few years. It's existed, but I'm training for a non-wetsuit because I think it's typically close to a cutoff point. I've been doing some experimenting swimming in a local lake, which is a marked course and a good place to try different things. I've been doing 2,000 meters continuous and find that a wetsuit, I swim with a faster shoulder-driven stroke, letting the suit take care of the hips and legs with a very light 2-beat kick. I can swim this course fairly consistently, around 2 to 100 meters. Okay, good heart rate. He's listing off. Interestingly, when I use a non-wetsuit, my stroke rate slows down. So he's going back and forth here. I won't read the rest of the email, but wetsuit or no wetsuit, basically. Should I not swim with the wetsuit, feeling fresher and easier heart rate, all this stuff back and forth. And I actually prefer the sensation of non-wetsuit swimming as my shoulders are free and it's less faff. And I'm not sure what faff means, but thanks, Sam. Okay, and that last sentence right there is what was really important to me. When I read that, I go, oh, I know the answer to this one. You need a sleeveless wetsuit. That way you get the best of both worlds. The one I use is the DeSoto. Well, maybe they only make one wetsuit. But anyways, DeSoto makes a 2-piece wetsuit. And basically it's kind of like overalls for the bottom part. And then over the top you can wear a vest or a long sleeve. They make both. And they make several models of it and stuff like that. But I found that when I swim with a full sleeve wetsuit, I'm significantly slower. It slows my arms down. Though, for whatever reason, they always say, you're faster with the full wetsuit. Not me. I'm slower with the full wetsuit. And I'm faster with a sleeveless wetsuit. I can do the shoulder rotation that I want to do, apparently. And also I can keep cool and it's been fine. I used one at Whistler and swam just under an hour for a full Ironman swim, and loved it. And it was a little cold at first because it's sleeveless, but then it warmed up just fine. And yeah, so I suggest a sleeveless wetsuit. And I sent him an email already suggesting that because I said, hey, this is a really good question, and your race is coming up. I need to tell you before I put the show out. Matthew Crehan sent in a donation. Tyler Moyer, Spiros Fetsis, Dwayne Morin, Mark Reed, Joseph Rogalski. How's it going, man? Email from Daryl Franklin. Hey, thanks, Coach Brett. I'm about running out of Hornet juice. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm sure it'll arrive in time. You must be super busy. We haven't had a new podcast in a while. Yeah, all that stuff I was talking about. I'm doing my first self-supported this coming weekend, but I'm doing a half Ironman. I love it when people do self-supported Ironmans. That's where you go out and do it by yourself. You don't sign up for a race. You just pick a weekend and you go do it. Totally doable. Lots of people do it if you're thinking about it, if you've never heard of it before. And this is a build-up to his first full Ironman in Busselton, Western Australia in December. Thanks again for the great content. My kids, Ryan and Ella, remember Ryella. Double exclamation points. Absolutely loved your Scooby and Shaggy impersonation. So funny. Go back a few episodes, y'all can hear that. I don't want to do it right now. I'm cracking up. If I'm smiling, I can't do impersonations. They haven't heard much from Kai lately. They miss his Kai's Coaching for Kids segment. Yeah, so we need to get Kai back on here for more of that. Thanks for keeping it real, and you keep the rubber side down too. Regards, Daryl Franklin from Down Under. We don't really say that much, but I don't tell anyone. Double exclamation points. Richard Trago sent in a donation. James Von Hippel. Houston Marsh. How's it going, man? Lindsay Williams says hello from Scotland. I just wanted to say hello and thanks. And a quick question. She had a bike crash, damaged her right brachial plexus. Ugh, that sounds bad, whatever that is. And first open water swim in nearly 2 months. Since then, staying sane is tricky. Doing a 70.3. She did a 70.3 in August, creaky body permitting. So thanks for the motivation. And, your bit about flat pedals in the latest episode was really interesting. So last episode, I talked about how I went out and proved to myself that flat pedals were just as fast or faster because I got a power meter and I ride the same course all the time. And I saw this video where flat pedals are just as fast as they proved it scientifically. It's just as fast. So why are we wearing clipless pedals and these fancy shoes when you just ride flat pedals? And so I've been doing it a lot lately. And your bit on flat pedals was really interesting, and I've only been riding a road bike for a year, and since I've stuck to a sprint and Olympic distance try so far, I've just begun on my running shoes, and once I get out of the pool and cycle in those, the people at the cycling club are always hassling me to change to clipless. But I quite enjoy doing the triathlete plowing her own furrow thing, and I've resisted so far. Which brings me to my question: if flat pedals and clipless pedals result in similar performance for super fit fellow like yourself, would they be similar for a slightly tubby, increasingly unfit woman like me? Three question marks. Thanks, and take it easy, Lindsay. Yes, absolutely. They'd be the same because clipless pedals are awesome for standing and hammering, accelerating fast, like criterion racing, just keeping maximum control of the bike under bumpy pavement, hard in the turns, and just standing, accelerating, sprinting. And those are all things that you don't do in a regular triathlon. In triathlon, because you have to run afterwards, you need to keep your bike really even, like an even effort. So all these things that I just mentioned are all hard accelerations that are really hard on the legs. And by the time you get done doing that on the bike a bunch of times, stuff that you would need clipless pedals to do, well, you've compromised your run. And since the run is the last thing, you might end up walking, and therefore, very bad idea. And, there's no reason why somebody that's new to it would not be able to do it. Let's see, that reminds me, I just got some tweets from somebody, and John Pullen, and he said because he was listening to my last podcast, he decided to wear them in a race, flat pedals, and he had similar results from me the time I wore flat pedals in it's kind of like halfway between a sprint and an Olympic for me. No slower on the bike, because I guess you could compare it to previous, and T2, that's where you get off the bike and run, 36 seconds. So it was faster doing flat pedals and shoes, and that was my experience too. When I did a race like that, my T2 was insanely fast. It was crazy. Threw the bike into the rack and just ran, and I put my helmet down and ran. It was pretty cool. So it works. All right, and let's see. Michael Radogna, Brett Hoyer, coolest name, first name in triathlon. Simon Wright, Daniel Clemens, Karen Jackson, Justice Phillips. How you doing, Justice? Jonathan Woodman, Hun Chu, John Moulin, Katie Joe, James Godak, Matthew Hines. Are we back to the beginning again? My notes kind of loop. Peter Salzin, Brian Kemper, Matthew Froese, Alison Fructose, Todd Nelson. I think I forgot to mention him. So anyway, those are all people that have supported the show recently. And somebody mentioned Hornet Juice. You can go to the right side of the Zen Triathlon page, and there's a link to Hornet Juice. It's purple and blue, and that's an amino acid mix that you can add to your fuel, and that turns on fat burning as well. It's synthetic Japanese killer hornet saliva, and every time I mention don't use it for sex, that's not what it's for. For energy, for sex, then people buy it like crazy. I do not know why. But anyway, every time I use it, you just get tons and tons and tons of energy. There's no caffeine or anything. It's amino acids. It's protein. It works. And I think the other sponsor we should mention before we get going into Michael Derkson's interview. You know what? Let's not do a sponsor. Let's just do the interview with Michael Derkson because he rocks, and I don't want to delay. So let's go ahead and hear Michael Derkson and I talk about his first big swim. Here we go.
Hey. And there you go.
Hey, dude, I haven't seen you in a while, man.
It's been a while. Your video's not up.
It's trying. I'm not sure why not.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
I'm on Wi-Fi, so I'm hanging with the crew out in the backyard.
Yeah, who's the crew?
Let me see if I can. How do we flip the? Don't know what the heck I'm doing. Oh, look at that.
Just you need to be like a Japanese tourist and just hold up your iPad.
Really?
Around.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. We got.
Let's see if I can turn the volume down.
Shit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. See the sheepdog in the back?
There he is. A girl, boy.
Boy.
Hey.
He's a local canine pup.
Yeah.
From the police department.
He doesn't look like he trusts us.
He's 8, so he's just looking for a place to lay down.
Yeah.
kind of like me on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Man, I can see you, but you can't see me. This sucks. Where's the camera part? The little camera screen. Oh, you know what? I put tape over it. I did the Zuckerberg thing. Wow, you can't see crap, man. It looks like just thick fog. Da, da, da.
Da, 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 da. Hey, you got new ink.
Oh, yeah. Majorly. Yeah.
I like it.
That hurt.
You get
right up.
When to the... Oh, jeez.
Collarbone right there.
Yep.
And then under the arm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's a tiger. It's a Japanese... It's like Japanese...
Okay. Yeah.
And then the Japanese tidal wave.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way across my chest to there.
Wow.
And then...
When are you getting the color?
I haven't decided if I'm going to color it yet. I kind of like it like this. But also...
You've seen mine, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about getting it colored, too. I could get it colored. Oh,
so mine's
sweet,
music.
Dude. Yeah, I remember seeing that, I think.
And then the wave is a keyboard.
Yeah.
See that?
That's really cool. That's the same kind of wave I have. Look.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
Yeah, Japanese spiky.
Yeah, the Japanese spiky. Dude, we're so cool.
Yeah. It's a new thing.
We're dangerous.
The last race I did, I was in a sleeveless, and I was getting passed by everyone, so everyone could see my arm from behind. And so as they're passing by, I'd get people like, "Hey, music dude,"
Music dude.
It was,
yeah.
So, for the event tomorrow, because there's no bike, I don't have to worry about how tight my top is. But I also know that when you're wet, pulling anything over your body is a train wreck. So I'm just going to put a real loose-fitting running tank under the wetsuit.
Yeah.
And then my Speedo jammers, and then I'll just pull running shorts on before I go because I don't display in public.
Good. All right. We already started recording. It just recorded automatically when it.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So hey, let's back up a second and say what you're doing and where. And they moved the swim course too, right?
Yeah, well, I guess the water temperature at the reservoir was up, and so they got more algae than they expected because we've been having like 100-degree days. So it was going to be like in the mid-70s, which made me happy, but then the water quality dropped. So they moved it out from the Livermore Reservoir out to the Berkeley Marina.
Right.
So instantly it became a saltwater swim, and now you get to hear the Jaws music. Because in the lake, you don't hear the Jaws music. You're talking about in San Francisco Bay then, right? Yeah. And it'll be obviously on the Berkeley side. It doesn't start till 8, but I don't think we're going to have a lot of wind and waves.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of chop.
Let me go turn off my dog real quick. Can you hear him?
You don't have her on a remote?
Our two dogs just bark. If there's anything outside, they get so excited. Hold on. Kona, nobody wants to hear you on the podcast. Okay, so
we'll
still be able to hear them, but it won't just be as loud. I closed the door.
Another reality of this is how it happens in real life, right?
This is real triathlon. Okay,
that's funny.
So it's a 2.4 mile swim in San Francisco Bay on the Berkeley side,
right?
And then
a 3.5 mile run.
Then that's it. 3.5 mile.
That's
run.
it. Oh, yeah,
dude, that is so cool. What's it called?
It's called the Catfish. So
and
people can find it at USA Productions website. They do a lot of the local NorCal stuff. Like I've done their Folsom International. They've got a long course.
Yeah, I've done their half Ironman in
Silicon Valley.
The Silicon Valley half, not Ironman, but half.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's some good bike climbs in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that was the time you came out, and I did the international distance, and you did long course.
Yeah.
So I still got that water bottle.
Was that the same reservoir?
No, that one's down in San Jose. So I'm about an hour east of that in the California Central Valley.
Okay.
So I'm out by like the southern wine country.
It was called like the Morgan Hill, right? The Morgan Hill.
Yeah, and that's even further west than I am. So I actually live about 20 minutes from the town that they filmed Sons of Anarchy in.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah,
right.
yes, right. Yeah. But so we don't get a lot of humidity, but we get Texas style heat. It's been today's nice. It'll be 85.
So you've never done a half or a full Ironman swim, right? So this was your first 2.4.
Right. And that's why I was hunting for this at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I was like, one of the things that always drives me crazy is people talk about like, oh, I do triathlons and I just dread the swim. And I'm like, me too. So why are we doing this, right? And so I said, because I had the heart attack last year and I needed something to kind of motivate me to get, back on my feet without, really pushing me too hard. And I thought, I'm going to do a swim block. I'm going to do a season where I really focus on, because if I don't enjoy swimming, why in the world am I doing it? And I realized I wasn't enjoying it because I didn't do it well and I didn't really know what I was doing.
Right.
So my previous 70.3 swims were always around 39, 40 minutes.
It's not too bad.
Which isn't, but yeah. But they were always like, gee, I'm glad that's over. Now we can start our race. And I said, everything I would read on Slow Twitch and all the interwebs and all that was like, well, if you swim more often, you'll really get a feel for it. And so I did some four swims per week. And all of a sudden I started to get it. Like, oh, this is actually enjoyable. And then we had, so I swam January, February, March quite a bit. And then the CrossFit Open started in March. And so I kind of focused on CrossFit stuff for a few months.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 months, I was like, oh, crap, the 28th is coming up. I better get back in the water. And I've been putting in 3 on average, sometimes 4.
Yeah.
I had a week where I traveled a lot, so there was 2 days in the water. But the thing that I found was really amazing was when you swim 2 days in a row, instead of just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you throw that extra day in there where you swim 2 days in a row, it's almost like an extension of the previous day. Like there's no, you like remember the catch. You remember, it just kind of, I think of swim training more like golf than running. It's a series of techniques. And I found that because I was practicing them 3 to 4 times a week instead of 1 to 2, I actually started making progress. Right. Instead of just staying, slogging along like I was before. So I'm actually I'm nervous because.
Let me, Emily just came back from the grocery store. Let me tell her to hold on a second. Hey, Emily, I'm upstairs doing a phone call with somebody and I'll be done in just a minute. Okay, bye. Okay, not just a minute. So, when I was on swim team, and we would swim 5 days a week, right? And sometimes 6, often 6. When we missed a day and then we got back into it again, it was so weird just missing a day or two. You totally lost your feel for the water, and it would take that first day back to get your feel again. And that's what we were swimming all the time. We were swimming like 5 times a week. So if you do back-to-back days, that's not enough time for you to forget how to catch. If you skip a day or two, then you'll forget how to actually catch the water. And you feel like you're slipping and sliding around in the water and you're ineffective, like you're floppy kind of in the water. It's really weird. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any I've never had anybody like analyze my stroke or give me coaching. And, back in the day, I did the total immersion drills, and I just kind of made it up as I went along. And so I don't have that background of having somebody like push me through sets and all that. What I've been doing for a training plan, on Slow Twitch, Dan has something called the Guppy 10-week challenge. And that's 3 to 5 swims a week, and they're about 2,000 yards. And I found that I actually swam better when I did 4 2,000-yard days than if I did 3 3,000-yard days.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like it's about the same yards, but just – and what's really amazing is, unlike hard biking or running, I can go back in the water and push it again the next day. The recovery seems a lot – so I learned a lot in the last 6 months about swimming, and I no longer think of that as my biggest limiter for completing an event. I still have a lot of room to improve, but I no longer look at it like, ooh.
One thing that's happening there is swimming is a non-impact sport, even less than cycling. In fact, swimming, while you're swimming, any muscle or joint that you're not using at the moment is improved in recovery because of the water pressure and the cooling effect of water. It's actually really good for your body. So you can swim pretty hard or a lot one day and then go back the next day, and you're nowhere near as beat up as if you ran that amount of time, or if you biked, even if you biked that amount of time, because the water cools you and everything, and it's just really nice. And like people wear compression socks and compression leggings, to recover their body faster, and water puts pressure on you just like that. So the whole time you're
I wouldn't have thought it was enough to matter.
It's a little bit, and it helps. So the other thing is, when the thing that people need to get over to get faster swimming is the whole body position thing and getting relaxed. And if you go back-to-back days, you're a little bit tired the next day, right? You notice like maybe you're a little bit sore or something. And learning how to swim while you're a little bit sore, your body self-teaches how to be more efficient, right?
Finds the path of least resistance. It finds
the path of least resistance, and it remembers how fast you were going yesterday. So you try to go as fast as you did the day before, and you're a little bit sore. So you start finding easier ways to go the same speed. Yeah, and then that just compounds, bam, bam, bam. The next thing you know, if you've been swimming a lot, especially like days in a row or a lot of days a week, then your form is a lot better and it's more efficient, right? So you're able to relax in the water. Like if you see it's the same thing. Like if you see somebody pedaling a bicycle and they're pedaling squares, I saw a lady biking the other day, and her knees were going up real hard and then down real hard and then out and then and it wasn't the smooth. It wasn't the smooth round, motion that is efficient. It was very inefficient, and that's really tiring. And so if you swim enough, and if you swim kind of slightly fatigued a little bit, then you start to relax. You give up, which you just give up, and you go, I guess I'm in here, and you relax your body, and you lay more flat on your face. Right. And I've been experiencing the same thing with. I'm not a very good kicker, so I started doing more kickboard drills. And at first I was trying real hard to kick, and then finally I just gave up. I go, quit trying so hard. And then my body relaxed, and then it found the form to kick a lot better. And then the next thing I knew, I was kicking, pretty much twice as far without getting before I would get as tired as I was before. Yeah. So good job, man. So what'd you say, like a few months? Is that how long it was of?
I had 3 really solid training months, January, February, March. Yeah. And then the last 2 months have been really successful. And I no longer have to force myself to grab the goggles and get out to the pool. Now it's I'm working at home today, so I'll just run over, get in 40 minutes and be done. And it's refreshing. And I really kind of get in a groove. I think the next step is to start working on some faster intervals, because I'm kind of stuck at the 135, 140 per 100 pace, which is respectable, and I can do it a long time. But now I got a workout from somebody on Slow Twitch for this last week, and I gave it a try yesterday, and I did 400. Scattered in there was some 100 repeats, and I blew them out in like 121 to 125. Dang. And for me, that's a pretty significant difference. Yeah. And it gassed me, but it was like, oh yeah, I guess if you just jog 9-minute pace, that's what you'll get good at. Right. Is jogging 9-minute pace.
And so to break through, you got to do some intervals to lift up your normal pace a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, and you just mix them in some, and it'll do it over time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to think ahead after tomorrow, because I really think, like, so far, no matter what happens tomorrow, it's already a success, because I became a better swimmer and I developed a consistent habit, and that right there is a major win for me.
Yeah.
And open water swimming is a full contact sport. Anything can happen. You can catch an elbow in the face. People can swim over the top of you. It's that anxiety. But even a DNF wouldn't be a failure to me, because I've already accomplished the goal, which is become a better and more consistent swimmer. Yeah. So race day is race day. I mean, you can get a lower back seize up and you're done, and that's just life. This is more the reward than the goal.
Right.
The goal was really to be consistent.
Yeah.
And learn to do swim training and not see it as a burden to triathlon, but actually one of the 3 things I enjoy.
Right.
So
once you get good enough at a sport, right, then it's a joy to play it. You're not struggling as much anymore, and you can kind of play with it. Like I used to hate running, and then maybe it's
says the guy that's done SOS and come on, dude.
No, I used to hate running, and then I guess I signed up for something that was huge or something, and it got me out there running so much. And then one time I was running, and I kind of took a turn during my run, like around a street corner or something, and I was able to lean into it, and I felt good, and then I came out of it, and then I went up a little hill, and then down a little hill. And it was fat. I had gotten good enough, or it was fast enough, where I was actually having fun now,
Right,
and I was like, "Oh, this is what people talk about. I like running now." And you can do the same thing, like we're talking, like swimming or like a musical instrument, right?
Right.
But once you get to the point where you can, on a guitar or a keyboard, you can play chords and stuff like that, and then it's nice, man. Then you're in it for life. That's so cool. So, is this a mass start, or is it a?
There's 3 waves.
Okay. How many waves?
Everyone who's doing the full course goes at 8:00, and then at 8:05, all the 1.2 mile swimmers go, and then they've got a shorter set of buoys that are 500 yards, and they go at 8:10. So I'll be with all the long course people. I don't know how many are signed up.
Do you know if it's a beach start or a pier start?
I don't. The website, frankly, this is a great. I mean, I don't want to say anything negative, but their website has been pretty poor on details. Well,
I mean, and also they've moved venues, right? So who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if you did know, it's changed.
They didn't even have the course. They didn't even have the start time on the website until 3 weeks ago. So it was like, okay, is this a 6 a.m. start? What are we doing here? So, I've changed my Garmin settings. So that I get a distance alert every 500 yards.
Okay.
When I'm in the pool, I do it at 200, just because anything beyond that I can't count and I lose track.
Right.
But I'm rarely swimming intervals longer than 200 anyway. So in this case, I've got it set to 500. Just put my head down and go. Sighting is always a challenge. My Garmin reports on open water swims are like a zipper going through the water.
Yeah.
So sighting, I've got, I put fresh lenses in my goggles, the reflective ones. And if they're new, I know they won't fog up. But on the Garmin, it's just going to be time and distance for swim. That's it. I don't need to know. Right. And on the run, I'm not going to wear heart rate monitor. I'm not going to bother with the strap and all that stuff. So for the run, I'm just going to do time. I don't even think I'll look at my heart rate.
You said it's a 5K run?
3.5.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically 5K.
Kind of, yeah. And
all right. So on the swim, have you been training during your swim workouts, like lifting your head out of the water and looking forward?
Yeah, what do they call it? The lifeguard stroke or whatever?
Yeah, that's what I call it, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's where I got that. I'll do that every now and then.
Yeah. Good.
I had one workout this week. Normally I get a lane all to myself. I have a pool that tends to have mostly older people, and they just kind of stay in the 2 shallow lanes and bob around. I mean, So I usually get a lap all to myself. But this week I shared a lane with a somewhat big woman, but she did 30 minutes of backstroke nonstop.
Wow.
I mean, she was just a machine.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of full body contact practice. Cause, you know, you come up to, and I'm ready to do a flip turn, and she's just hitting the wall, and I'm like, oh, I got to stay tight. I don't want to kick this lady in the head. And so, you know, just
that's good practice, though. Yeah.
But I'm not in the kind of, our pool is not the kind of thing where you're going to have like a lot of lap swimmers where I can gauge myself. I mean, as slow as I am, I've only once seen somebody who's faster than me. Yeah. It's just not, it's at a 24-hour fitness gym.
Right.
Short course yards. It just isn't. I guess there's a couple of triathletes that show up in the evening, but usually by then I'm on dinner time. So I try and go in the morning.
So for people that don't know, lifeguard stroke, when I was a lifeguard, I was a lifeguard for several summers, and they say if you see somebody go under or somebody having trouble, you swim with your head above water. You swim freestyle at them with your head above water so you can have eyes on where they are. So if they go under, you got an idea of where they went under. Because if you swim with your face down, then you pop your head back up and they're gone.
They're gone.
You don't know where they were or the last place that they were, right?
Okay.
So that's why they call it lifeguard stroke. So that's swimming with your head out of water. And what happens is if people don't practice that during swim practice, then on race day in open water swimming, when they need to sight, they'll be able to sight a few times, you know, but they're not very good at it. And then halfway through the swim, like their neck starts to hurt, you know. Yeah. They haven't practiced like how you only need to pop your head up just a little bit to actually be efficient. Right. And it actually uses your shoulders and arm muscles and back muscles a little bit differently. And then people may get their back seizing up or, you know,
yeah, I was going to say my lower back, I would, if I would do, you know, half a length that way, I would notice my lower back. And of course it shifts your body position. So your hips drag lower. So you are slower, but nothing's slower than going off course. I mean, that's the ultimate slowness is like, oh, I'm 100 yards to the right. That's not good.
But now, what's the clarity like in the bay right now? It's half decent, isn't it? Can't you see like 5-10 feet?
No, I that close to shore, I would be very surprised. If I had known this was going to be there, because I go out to UC Berkeley to work once a week or so, I could have easily, you know, brought a wetsuit. They have an aquatic park over on the San Francisco side where people practice. That's the exit for Alcatraz, you know, where aquatic park is. Yep. So that's on the other side of the bay, and that could have given me some more of that bay open water practice, but it didn't happen. And, you know.
Speaking of that, what's the water temperature of the bay?
They're saying 66 to 70. So
are you serious? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
That seems surprisingly warm.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Santa Cruz, and Monterey Bay is always quite a bit colder than the San Francisco Bay because they got the deep water trench down there. Yeah. So that's why I got into beach volleyball instead of surfing, because I was a total sissy with cold water.
Yeah. Well, I would bring so what people do is...
I'm going to bring a cap.
Yeah, people bring extra swim caps. The way I did Alcatraz was 3 swim caps. And
I have a neoprene one.
Yeah. And then the other thing is if you do get an ice cream headache, you know, when you start swimming, swim with your head out of water for just as much as you can. And that'll build up body heat. And then you dip your head in. And then after 20, 30 seconds, if you start to get an ice cream headache again, you lift your head out, keep swimming, and then that'll build up your body heat again and give your head a break, and then dip your head back in. Okay. So basically, you dip your head in until it starts to hurt, ice cream headache-wise, and then lift it out until it goes away, and then back in. Okay. And after just a couple of minutes, it'll your body heat will counteract the coldness of the water.
Okay. So. Well, even if it's down at the lower end of that range, that's not 66 is not a super chilly, but But I also haven't practiced it.
Yeah.
So.
And then another thing is supposedly putting the tongue on the roof of your mouth stops ice cream headache.
What?
The vein or the artery that is that supplies blood to your brain, that if it gets cold, gives you a headache, runs across the top of your mouth. So if you put your tongue. Anytime you have ice cream headache from eating ice cream, then you put your tongue against the top of your mouth and it goes away really fast.
I never would have thought of that.
It's pretty crazy.
Okay, that's a ZenTri tip for you right there.
That's your random tip.
Drop the mic.
And then, how are you with? Are you nervous about swimming with all these other people? Like the crowds or anything like that?
Yeah, a little. I mean, I'll probably hang back a little bit. The nice thing is I won't get caught by like successive waves, like when I did Vineman or Oceanside or whatever. You know, they're going off every 3 minutes, and so first the leaders of the yellow cap catch you, and then the leaders with the blue caps, and it's like it's more a mental thing. I'm willing to give up a minute.
It makes you feel like you're behind or something like that.
Yeah,
you got to speed up.
Yeah, and I always finish kind of middle of the age group anyway. I'm okay with some contact, and I'd rather take a slightly long, especially like the first turn on the first buoy is usually where there's a lot of congestion, right? Because people haven't strung out quite as far. So I usually take the first buoy kind of wide and just be like, well, it is what it is. But that is probably the biggest, if I've got any anxiety about it. I've done it a half a dozen times, plus, you know, the Olympic stuff. It won't be new territory, but it's never comfortable territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the thing that I've noticed doing Ironman swims is that, which is the same distance, is you start to wonder after a while, like, man, how long is this, right? When you get about 2/3 of the way, even halfway through, or you can look at your watch and be like, oh my gosh, we're only 20 minutes in. And but it's nice, you have a watch, right, and you know what to expect, and then you're going to know where you are, at least time wise. Even if the GPS doesn't work great, you'll still know where you are time wise, and how much time you got left, which is really nice. And so you can pace yourself appropriately. And then the other thing that I really have found to be nice is you know, you got your pack of swimmers, kind of. You know, it's kind of a loose collection of people. And some of them are real congested and swimming on top of each other. But if you get on the outside edge, where you are pretty much one of the outside people, let's say it's 20 people wide, right? And you get out there on the side, and you got clean water in front of you, then and maybe you're in contact with somebody, so you don't feel alone. You know, you feel there's some people nearby. But swimming with a clear path ahead of you, so that you're not bumping into people and people swimming up your butt, you know, like hitting your feet and stuff. Then what you can do then is you can much better control your own pace, and then you'll start being able to go slow enough and easy enough where you can actually enjoy the scenery. And it feels like you've got almost like you're swimming with like maybe 2 or 3 other people. That's it. If you get on the outside edge, you get on the inside, man, it's terrible in there.
Somebody throws a wide stroke, and it kind of hits your arm, and it breaks your rhythm. And
it is true, you know, if you get in there and you draft off other people, it's a little bit faster. But but it's hard. That's difficult to do. That's really difficult to draft off of somebody. And then, but if you get out where it's a little bit by yourself, then I predict a much calmer, easier swim, especially, and you'll really enjoy it.
Right.
So then, what are you doing to eat beforehand?
Okay. All right. So I specifically picked a goo that this one has 40 milligrams of caffeine, and so.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait,
right.
40's not bad. Okay, never mind.
No, but they come in caffeine free 20 and 40, and so I picked a couple that have 40. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be up around 5. I'm going to make up my standard 3 eggs, small, and they have these microwavable steel cut oats.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm going to do those 2. That's my normal breakfast. Maybe a little bit of grapefruit.
Yeah.
I'll have about 2 hours for that to kind of work its way through.
Yeah.
I'm going to take one of those 2 goos, and I've had this flavor before, so I know that I'm good with it. I'll have that about 15 minutes before go time.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a second one in the transition area, and I'm not going to bother with any electrolytes or anything for the run, because it's only a 30-minute run.
Yeah.
And I don't really need food, but I think that extra shot of caffeine and sugar out of that goo at the begining of that will settle into my stomach, and then I'll just basically be. Yeah. I have an old water bottle, but I don't mind tossing if I need to. I'm not going to rely on aid stations for water because again, it's just short. Yeah. It's a 5-ish K thing. I'm just going to have one old bottle of water and one go, and cool. I think that if I get 500-600 calories in the morning before I go, I'll be solid.
So then, one last thing that I've heard, and I've been trying it, and it seems to work pretty good, is if you start off too fast, and you take something sugary like a goo, well then it's gonna spike your blood sugar and boom, bottom out, right? But if you start off the swim kind of like almost like a warm up, you're just like cruising pretty easy, then you won't burn through everything so fast, and that allows you to all those eggs and oats. It allows you to use those more. Okay, you're not dipping so hard into your sugar reserves. You're actually able to go off of the fat a little bit better. So, Dr.
Well, there's always anxiety at the beginning, you know, and you got the adrenaline pumping, and but I really am going to take up to the first buoy, just kind of getting in a rhythm. Yeah, because this isn't so much a race in the sense of I'm really trying to break that 140 per 100, no. It's a 42.50. That's a long way. Let's get in a rhythm.
It's a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I did a 27.50 last week. And I did that right at 46 minutes. So and I felt like I could have done it again. So that part's there. Perhaps you could give me a tip on, it's a full sleeve wetsuit. And so there's going to be binding as your arm comes over. It's like pulling on the wetsuit 10,000 times, right? Yeah. That's shoulder fatigue. Yeah. There's just no way to predict how that's going to go. Like, all of a sudden my shoulders are burning, and it's a different, because I haven't practiced in a wetsuit, since the last race. So, if your shoulder starts to burn, you switch over to breaststroke for a couple minutes and give it a break? What do? You just
do what that lady was doing and do some backstroke. So when you put on that wetsuit, make sure to pull it up. Try to give yourself a wedgie as hard as you possibly can. Yeah. And that'll give you lots more room in the shoulders. Okay. And then when you could even, are you going to put lube around your neck?
I am looking everywhere for my tube of skin sake. I can't find it anywhere. And where I live, there's no specialty
Vaseline
store
or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll probably do that, especially around the neck. And I'm going to put some, behind the shoulder. It's hard to see, but you know what I'm saying? Like in the armpit, but in the back. That's where I get chafing.
I'm saying maybe put some all over the tops of your shoulders so it's nice and lubey in there. So that'll reduce the pull on your shoulder.
Now that petroleum jelly isn't bad for the
It is bad for the wetsuit. So as soon as you're done, you need to rinse out that wetsuit. Salt water's bad for wetsuits too. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always, when I lived at the beach, I would always, or when I'd go diving, I would always rinse everything out.
It takes lots of swimming with Vaseline all over your wetsuit for it to start eating it up. So
okay, I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean,
I do wetsuit?
2 events a year. So I mean, I wouldn't worry.
I mean, it's a really nice one. It's a blue 70 Helix suit.
Yeah.
Really nice. Yeah. It's got it's almost like Lycra on the forearms instead of neoprene. Yeah. So you can feel the catch even with the sleeve on. It's really, really cool. Yeah. And it's got a split right here. It's 2 pieces of neoprene with a split here that stretches a little bit. So when you're, it's a really great suit. But I only race twice a year. So I think it's got 3 races on it so far. Yeah. It's basically new. I mean,
I wouldn't be afraid to lube it up. I know the big time dudes use Vaseline on theirs, and
they're probably sponsored by Roca.
Yeah, but they're swimming 12 times a year or whatever.
Well, that's true.
But on the shoulders burning, the thing with a wetsuit on and salt water is you don't need to swim as hard to go as fast.
Right.
So you can actually not be pulling as hard, and you'll be just as fast as you were without it.
Right.
So that's one thing, is you don't need to swim quite as hard as you were in practice. So
true.
You swim 10% easier, and you're still going to go just as fast, and there's your shoulder burn right there. It gets rid of it.
Okay. Well, I hate making predictions or setting goals.
But here comes one.
And the reason is because I don't want to. When you don't have all the facts, it's difficult to predict something, right? Yeah. And so it's, like when you were in Canada, you had no idea that those hills were going to like pound you, on the downhills, right? You couldn't have really. So
I don't know they're
going to you have to adjust. But my previous, like Oceanside, which was a very similar swim. It was, just a sheltered cove with buoys, open water. Because Vineman's a totally different story with that river and stuff. But I did 40 minutes, and I'm like, okay, so that was with very minimal training. Maybe now with the training, I can do 120 for a full, and then if I can, jog 9-minute pace, I'm under 2 hours. That's just kind of but you don't know.
Yeah.
This is no man's land. It's like, I think I can run 10-minute miles in my very first Ironman. And then you get there and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You can't.
And then if you have really strict time, you're really hoping on times, then you end up going too hard. And in endurance events, that's a bad. You do better going easier at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm get through the first lap, check my split, and say, okay, now it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
Because the run is just kind of like a victory lap. I'm not worried about the 3-mile run.
This is your first 2.4 mile swim. That's the cool thing.
Right. That's the goal. Yeah. That is to survive that and come out of the water smiling and tired. I want to work hard. It's not like I'm just going to, paddle my way through. I do want to actually do my best, but I'm not going to get bowed up if I end up with a 130.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's chop and stuff like that. So you just
or I get more tired. I'm not as trained as I thought I was. I don't know. I'm not, but I'm not going to get bowed up over the time at this point.
I wouldn't.
So I bought a new pair of Brooks yesterday. Mm-hmm. I got the Ghost 9s, put some lace locks in it, the elastic lace locks. So I don't have to bother tying shoes with cold, numb fingers. I just took them out for a 2.5, 3-mile run. They felt like slippers. So I normally wouldn't wear new shoes this close to an event.
Yeah. But it's just a 3.5.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that I just wore them and they were completely comfortable. I'm like, okay, we're good. The only thing, obviously, I don't know is there's no way I'm doing socks. I'm not willing. I'll take a blister over the time off of a socks.
Yeah, you might get one. You never know. That it might be long enough to give you a blister, but it won't be a bad one.
Yeah, but I've done some marathon training where I've lost toenails and stuff.
You're hardcore then.
This is that was when I got to qualify for Boston. So I was out there a lot.
Yeah.
So
well, cool, man. I'm excited. You're gonna fill us in either tomorrow or a couple days after how it went.
Yeah, I'll have time tomorrow. Next week's work is pretty busy, so I'll probably I'll send you a text with my time at the end of it, and then maybe I can get my buddy to drive back, and I can talk to you. But if we're gonna do this by Skype, then I definitely want to not be in a car. That's you're going over a bridge and you lose connection. And,
where you are right now is perfect.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah, got my waterfall on the pool going, and I'm supposed to be painting. So before my wife ran down to the school to get some stuff, and I better have a brush in my hand when she gets back.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, cool.
So I mean, I feel okay.
Yeah.
I feel okay. I mean, it's the unknown, but it's not like I'm going into something that I've never done anything similar to, and I know I've done the work.
Yeah.
And the rest is just that's why they call it race day, because anything can happen. So
cool.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if I'm still smiling tomorrow. Might have a bruise right here and say, oh yeah, I caught a foot right here. Who knows? Yeah. Hey, one last thing. Is there any way to carry backup goggles in a full suit?
Not.
I'm
trying to think. I've never thought of that before. Yeah, you can wear them around. Well, if you wear them around your neck, they might start rubbing against your neck.
Well, not only that, but then they're they're fluttering around. Anyway, I was just thinking because when I eventually get to do my very first Ironman, I'm not going to streamline my bike to the point that I'm not carrying a patch kit and an extra tube. I'm not giving up an entire day because I wanted to not carry an extra tube or something like that.
So you want to carry an extra pair of goggles?
I was just thinking, because I got 2 pair, but I don't think they're going to get knocked off my face.
You know what you should do is, take an extra pair of goggles with you swimming sometime with your wetsuit and try different places, like in front of your chest.
Yeah.
Behind your back. You really can't do your sleeve or your legs.
No.
You could do in your ankle, but getting them out, you got to think about that if you need them. Get them out.
Yes, putting them in on land is different than getting them out when you're floating in the middle of the bay.
Getting something off of your calf, to put your head underwater to go pull them out is kind of tough.
Yeah, well, not for tomorrow. No. That's one other tweak.
Yeah.
That I'm just. Yeah, I was just thinking. I didn't know what people do. Like when you were doing the swim across Tahoe,
mm-hmm.
if these were just fogging up or you hate them, you call over to, who was it? Morgan was with you, or
yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think I had a backup pair of goggles. I just realized that was pretty dumb.
And you had a boat right there to hand them to you if you needed to.
Yeah, I think I brought 2 pair of goggles, on the trip, but I don't think I brought an extra pair. But before every race, because I only race a few times a year, like what you're doing, I buy a new pair of goggles. So my goggles are brand new right before swimming.
Right.
And I swim with them for about a week or 2 to kind of get the fit right, and then And so the days of me breaking goggles, during the swim are pretty much
gone.
Yeah. I just buy new ones, and
I use those
cheap for some nice goggles now.
Well, I use the Tier Remix Customs because I like the funky colors.
Yeah.
And each set comes with a set of either clear or blue, and then 1 set of reflective.
Yeah.
And so I bought a new pair, but I haven't had any open water events. So I had a pair of reflective ones with, the sunglass type.
Mm-hmm.
They still had the stickers on the front. So they're brand new.
Yeah.
So I popped them in the frame. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So no fogging.
Yeah.
So,
cool. Yeah.
All right. I'm off
good?
to grab a paintbrush.
All right, man.
I am ready. I am at peace with whatever comes my way.
You're going to wax on, wax off with the paintbrush, remember?
Yes, I'll see if I can catch as much of the paint as I can.
Yeah. You'll be fine. All right, man.
I dig it. I'll talk to you on Sunday.
Okay, later. Bye.
Later.
All right, thanks, man. And since we recorded that, he actually did the race and did really well and was really happy with himself. And we've talked about email. We've talked about recording another show. But like I said, I'm trying to do so many things at once that we actually haven't been able to line up a time to record a post-race interview. But trust me, he said it went really great. And I'm really excited that my advice helped him. But he's the one that actually did the work. So we need to congratulate him. And let's see, do I mention Salt Stick in the race? So Salt Stick is a sponsor of the show, and they we got a 25% off discount code with them, ZenTri 25. So on today's bike ride, I do 2 Salt Stick capsules per hour. You can kind of learn to see how much you need yourself. The capsules are super portable. Sometimes they have a device that's like a dispenser, kind of like a Pez stick kind of thing, but except you twist it. And a lot of pros use that because it's pretty convenient. And then, or I like to put them in a little Ziploc baggie. I don't know why, but that's what I use. And I put some water in my mouth, put a Salt Stick capsule in my mouth, chew it up, get it all, my mouth, break it apart, get it all salty, and then spit it back into my water bottle, and then now the whole bottle is kind of salty, and then it's just easier on my stomach to like kind of drink it over half an hour instead of like all at once with a pill. And that's how I end up using it. But they have a whole bunch of different stuff, and you can go to their website and find out. Well, they have a store locator at saltstick.com, but if you're in the United States, you can get 25% off with discount code ZenTri25. And let's see, it's like shopsaltstick.com. Go check it out. And ever since they contacted me, and I remember when they emailed me, and they go, "Hey, we were interested in sponsoring your shows. Are you interested?" And I said, "Please, thank God." I need an electrolyte sponsor because I drink so much water here in Texas, and I do not know what I'm doing. I'm getting dehydrated. I'm stomach hurts because I'm not drinking enough water. And so I need more water, but I don't want to drink all this water without having some electrolytes in it. and an electrolyte sponsor is huge for me. And Salt Stick is the real deal. They're one of the biggest, or the biggest one in the game. They really know what they're doing. And your water won't stick without Salt Stick. If you just drink just straight water without any electrolytes in it, it just runs right through you. You end up peeing it out because it doesn't want to hang around. You know this thing where like people eat too much sodium in their diet, where they end up getting kind of like they carry extra water weight from all the sodium, and their like feet will swell up and stuff like that. It's because electrolytes and sodium helps water stay in your body so that your body can actually use it. So if you just drink water without any of that stuff in it, well, just like I said, it just runs right through you. And this is super convenient. Like I said, I just do a capsule and put it in my water. You can do it ahead of time if you want. You can mix it with your fuel. You just add it, and it just works. It's awesome. And yeah, 25% off. That's really cool of them to do that. So I'm very excited to have them on the show and as a sponsor. And I love sponsors that reach out to me. I think all of our sponsors on ZenTri are people that have reached out to us and want to be part of the show. Not me going around shopping for somebody and then a sponsor that's not into it. These sponsors that we talk about, they're like you, and they listen to the show and they want to help you out and make sure, like I do. Like, why do I do podcasts? I want everybody to be doing it during sports because it's so much fun, and so they want to make your life a whole lot better too. All right, so that's Salt Stick. Again, shopsaltstick.com, 25% off, and they got a whole bunch of different stuff. You can go check it out. Different ways to get in your electrolytes. And let's see, we got a little bit of audio that I recorded recently after a bike ride and also after a camp out, which with the Boy Scouts. We managed not to die out there in the woods. If you go look at the About Brett on ZenTriathlon.com, you'll see that I'm an Eagle Scout, actually, and did wilderness survival camping. And I've hiked all kinds of crazy trails with big backpacks for weeks at a time. And I love going out and doing the wilderness stuff. And kind of when I go on a bike ride, I actually like riding by myself. My 3-hour bike ride today was totally by myself out in the woods and in the fields and river bottoms, and saw deer and all kinds of crazy creatures out there. And I love it. I love being self-supportive out there. When I do these Ironmans, my self-supported Ironmans, I do them on my own because I just love the feeling of being able to take care of myself, kind of like a survivalist out there, And it just makes you feel really good that you went on a bike ride and handled all your own crap. So we talk a little bit about that. So let's go ahead and get into the audio, and that'll be the last part of the show. And of course, next show, oh my gosh, Kona's coming this next weekend. So we're going to see these bikes that I talked about at the beginning of the show, this Diamondback and a Cervelo. And I also saw that there was a spy shot of the new BMC out there. All these bikes are going to be out on display, people riding them, all the hype and everything. So expect a lot more of that next episode. All right, here we go with the training log.
You are entering the ZenTri training log zone. Huneli.
Hi everybody, my name's Brett. I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise! Exercise! Yeah! I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
All right, we are here at the Kids Triathlon in Moody Gardens, Galveston, Texas. It's quite a scene. It's a pirate-themed, like a Treasure Island kind of themed race. It's all kids. It's really popular and really full. Hundreds of kids. But I know our kids' team and a lot of other kids aren't taking it all that seriously. It's more like a fun race. And it's... I'm out on the bike course, right where the bikes are, right after, about 100 yards after they mount, and also the bike out is the bike in, so I'm watching kids come in. Kai, my 11-year-old son, is out on the bike course right now. Actually, he should be coming by any minute, so we might get me cheering for him. It's a 200-yard swim in a lazy river at a water park, which is super cool. I never got to do that as a kid. That would be a lot of fun. And
The bike is either 4 or 6 miles. I thought it was 6, but it turns out it might be 4. And the run is 2 miles, I believe. And it's pretty flat around here. It's actually a really pretty day. We were a little worried yesterday it was going to be raining, but it turns out today's nice weather. It's not too hot. It's going to get hot, but we're nice and early. And the race is on the grounds, mostly. I think the bike kind of goes off the grounds, maybe, of the hotel, of it, the whole thing. The hotel has a water park, everything. So you can stay at the Moody Gardens Hotel and walk right down. You can eat dinner at the hotel, and then the next morning get up and walk right down to the race transition area, which as soon as we walked outside of the doors of the hotel, you could hear the announcements from the transition area, and it was a 200-300 yard walk to that. So if you live in the Houston, Galveston, Central Texas, Southeast Texas area, it might be a race that you want to come do. It seems really well run and all that stuff. And something we're noting is how many kids... Let's go, Colin! Yeah! That's Kai's main competition. Colin's smaller. He's like shorter and thinner and driven to train. He does his own training routine at night. His dad said it's really funny. And like push-ups, pull-ups, and all that stuff. So Kai's always trying to play catch-up with Colin. And because Kai's a normal, average kid where you're like, if you want him to train, you kind of got to make him for 11 years old. And is taller, so he's carrying more weight. And so he's a little bit slower. For now. You never know. And Colin is also just exceptional anyway. But anyway, back to the pedals. We've noticed, I'm also by bad luck, I'm wearing the same color shirt and similar looking to the race staff, so people keep coming up and asking me questions. And the questions seem to be a lot about pedals. Hey, that kid's got clipless pedals. Should my kid have clipless pedals? A lot of flat pedals. And in fact, I'd say it's 95% flat pedals, and that's fine. Because 2 pairs of shoes and stuff like that has a lot to deal with. Kai's wearing clipless pedals because he likes it. I was telling this one mom that was asking me, she took me over to her bike, her kid's bike, and was showing me their pedal setup and stuff. And is this right? Am I doing it right? And it's like, well, for kids and also for adults, it's whatever you like doing in triathlon to get you into it. And then after a couple of years, you could switch and maybe do clipless if you like them. But like there's some kids that's they want to do the clipless pedals so bad that even though it's not going to really make them any better, I say go ahead and let them do it because then they're happy and they feel cool with clipless pedals. So I'm just kind of watching kids go by. I guess I'll stay on the mic until Kai comes by. Here comes a golf cart. Now, Kai has been swimming with me before work. He's only done it 3 times. But before school, before work, I go swim, and then he goes with me. He wanted to do this. And then I take him, and when we're done, I drop him off at school, and then I drive to work, because it's all within a few miles of each other. And it cuts into my swim time, but I'm totally into it. And is this Kai? Here he comes. Go Kai! Go Kai! Woo! He's already out of his shoes, and he's doing the flying dismount, and he's going. But the first time I left Kai, the first time I went to go swim, where he was supposed to go swim with me, he was still asleep. So I just kind of went and didn't didn't make him get up to go with me. And then I heard about it the rest of the day. He was so mad. And I was like, wow, he really wanted to go do it. Get up at freaking 5:30 in the morning to go swim? Okay. So 2 days later when I went to go swim, I woke him up, got him going, and we went and swam. We only swam for half an hour because it was kind of late. It's like first time. you're always slower, figuring out all the gear and stuff. And he ate breakfast. He ate a snack on the way there, peanut butter and jelly, like half of a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and then he ate a breakfast burrito on the way back to school. And when we were done, and then later that day, I asked him how he was doing, and he said, great. And I was like, all right, let's say that was a Wednesday. I said, you want to do it again on Friday? And he goes, yep. I go, all right. So Friday we swam about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And then the last time we went, we swam about 50 minutes, 50. So we're slowly increasing the time. And every other day, swimming before school, which is, it's pretty amazing, man. And he's in there with adults and stuff, and there's not a ton of people. And he and I share a lane. And we kind of do the same workout, and then I'll stop him, but not too much. I don't want to stop him too much because I want him to have fun. I'll just go, hey, the way your hand's entering, make it more level like this. And I go, stay still and watch me swim by you and watch how my hand enters. And he will. And then he tries to pick it up a little bit. And then, so like maybe over 45 minutes, I stop him only like 3 times and say, okay, do this. Okay, now do this. And then at the end of every swim practice, I race him across the pool. We do a 25-yard sprint, and I'm letting him win right now. But it's taken me a lot of work. So I can imagine in a few more years, he's going to be letting me win on occasion. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So we're going to get off the mic here, and he's going to finish his race. And I'm going to get around to asking him if the swimming we're doing actually paid off, if he felt like he was a better swimmer for it. And then these water park races, you get a free pass to the water park for the rest of the day. At least that's how they've done it the past 2 or 3 I've been to, which is really cool. There's a kid on a javelin. It's pretty sweet. All right, so we might be hanging around here and doing some water park stuff and slides. I've got a water park bracelet on right now. So, all right, be back in a minute. Bye. All right, man, we need to start wrapping up the show here. Got to get a podcast out, but I've had a lot of cool things happen lately I thought I'd bring to y'all. I am driving to Waco, Texas, outside of Waco. I'm on my way to my son's Boy Scout troop camp out. And it's a beautiful day out across the countryside if you're inside looking out a window. But outside, the heat index, that's the heat plus humidity, is 108 degrees. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And I went for a long bike ride this morning, got up early. And then also did the same thing last week. And then I think the week before, I'm trying to remember, I did the same thing. Anyways, I've been calibrating my water intake and sodium, electrolytes, which we'll get to salt stick in a second because that really helped. And man, you wouldn't believe how much water I drank. So a few weeks ago, I did a bike ride in the heat, 3 hours, finished, and I'd lost 5 pounds. And no, I think 7 pounds. Anyways, I was starting to feel pretty crappy. And the rest of the day, I felt like crap. I was all over the place, like couldn't focus and everything. I had a nasty headache. And it was kind of a mess. And the thing about weighing yourself beforehand and then weighing yourself after is really handy because you can up your intake of water. Over here on the right, I'm passing the beer store that my friends and I used to stop at in college. I'm driving on the way to Dallas. Just passed it. Wow. And then I was like, man, how much more water do I need to drink? You know, so I figured out, 5 pounds is so many ounces, blah, blah, blah. And, did some math. This is why you take math as a kid. You're always like, I'm never going to use this when I grow up. No, you will use math a lot. And I figured out how much more 5 pounds of water was. And
So I upped my intake of water, trying to match it the next ride, and I pretty much did. And I finished the next week. I finished the ride exactly the same way as when I started. So I was successful. And a trick that I used, because you got different water bottles and they're kind of all over the place, you're not really sure what's going on. The trick that I used is I have a torpedo bottle made by X-Lab on the front of my bike. And it's it's about 22 ounces. But what I was doing before was draining that every half hour. I was trying to finish it every half hour, and I was still 5 pounds down after 3 hours. And I'm talking, dude, it's crazy hot here. Y'all would not believe it. And this is Texas, it's the middle of Texas in the summer, in August, July and August. So I guess you would believe it. Now we're getting to September, but it's still just as hot. It doesn't cool off in Texas until about end of October. You might start getting some cooler days. Might get a few cooler days. And the thing about having a measured container and drinking from it and only from it on a regular scheduled interval is really nice, because now you can measure fluid, right, as it's going in. And so 22 ounces, well, every finish that X-Lab torpedo bottle every half hour. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, that's an insane amount of liquid. And yes, it is. That's 44 ounces per hour. And at least. And then the crazy thing is that wasn't enough. So I did a little bit more math and kind of figured out and came up with a strategy of draining that thing every 25 minutes. So by 50 minutes in, I've drained it twice, and then by an hour and 40 minutes, I've drained it twice again. So every 50 minutes, 50, I've drained it twice, and that is a crap ton of water. And I went out today and did a bike ride and felt a lot better. It was actually feeling pretty good the entire time. And one of the other secrets was using salt stick in it, and salt stick capsules. So in my fuel bottle, I made a 3-hour fuel bottle. I blended it up, and then I added, this is really interesting, a tablespoon, well, I did 200 calories of maltodextrin powder, like Carbo Pro. It's basically the same thing. And I did 200 calories of that per hour, and one scoop is 100 calories. So I was, 6 scoops maltodextrin powder in there, and then I did a tablespoon of MCT oil, and then 2 capsules of salt stick per hour, and just 1 tablespoon of MCT oil for the entire 3-hour ride, by the way. MCT oil made from coconut. And then I did, for caffeine, I have green tea capsules. Green tea is a nice little pick-me-up. It's also anti-inflammatory, and it's just really good all the way around. And Nature's Bounty is the brand. And I looked it up, and 2 capsules is 65 milligrams of caffeine, and I wanted to go for 100 milligrams of caffeine for the whole ride. So I did 3 capsules total in this water bottle. Shook it up. It's plenty liquidy. It's nice and happy. But there's a little bit of a problem with MCT oil, is that oil wants to go to the top. And I did not make this stuff in a blender. And I probably should have made it in a blender to really grind it up so that the oil really blended with the electrolytes and the, maltodextrin powder and the green tea capsulized powder. I broke anything that was in a capsule, I broke it open and
shook it out into the stuff. And I made a note. Oh, by the way, Dynalist. I got to talk about Dynalist. I made a note after this morning's ride that probably next week I'm going to try it without MCT oil at all, because MCT oil, it's an oil, so it rises to the top after a while, apparently. And I think I got a glug of that, just straight oil. And that is not what you want 2 hours into a 3-hour bike ride when it's almost 100 degrees outside. It was a little bit cooler this morning than 108, but not much. And it's probably low 90s. And I felt odd, and I felt like I'd eaten something gross, and it was that MCT oil. I know they make powdered MCT oil and all that stuff, but I'm going to probably try it without it. The science says that all you need is, your breakfast or your coffee to have some MCT oil in it, and that kicks off your fat burning. You don't really need it in your fuel. And Dynalist. Oh, well, the other thing about MCT oil is I've been using it lately to lube my chain. and I'm eating it. Coconut oil, if you ever get bike grease on your hands, Kai or Emily, I forgot which one. Oh, we've been mountain biking recently. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Got bike grease on his hands, or her hands. I don't remember who it was. This was a few weeks ago. And just a lot of it. It was real dark and couldn't get it off. And Emily was asking me what she could do to get it off. And I said, coconut oil, take it off. It's crazy. Coconut oil is a solvent. It'll tear apart bike grease. And when you lube your chain, so you get some MCT oil, you get it at the grocery store, and you can just wash your hands with it first and watch that grease come off. It's really crazy. Way better than anything else I've ever seen. Well, bike chain lube is both a solvent and a lube at the same time. When you put on bike chain lube, it kind of breaks apart the old lube, and that's why you put on just a little bit of lube, and then you spin the chain around, and that kind of gets it breaking up stuff. And for a classic lube, I use what's that? Rock and Roll Gold is a really good one. A petroleum wax lube, I think, and that's one of the best. But I've been trying coconut oil lately, and it's crazy. It definitely penetrates the chain, and it breaks apart the old lube. And then when you take a paper towel or whatever you want to use and wipe it off to clean up your chain, man, your chain is sparkly. It's also kind of black, like it seems to be collecting grease. But anyway, it's kind of a long-term test. I'm going to try it. I kind of like it that it's MCT oil. It's kind of funny. It's made from coconut. Because I could light it on fire or something like that. Would be pretty neat. But I'm going to try it next week without any oil and kind of see how that goes. But I'm really excited that with measuring the water and upping the sodium intake, and also being able to measure the electrolyte sodium intake with Salt Stick, that I know exactly my numbers for a hot day to finish a 3-hour ride, feeling pretty freaking good. And it ends up being 1.7 liters of water per hour is what I drank to finish that ride feeling pretty strong. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. I was not doing anywhere near that up until yesterday. And you think it's hard to swallow that amount of water while you're riding, but then you just force yourself to do it. It's like a big gulp every 5 minutes. But if it's hot enough, it's actually not that bad. But the thing is water, that amount of water will mess you up unless you've got electrolytes in it. It'll give you hyponatremia. So you got to dive into some electrolytes. And I love the Salt Stick stuff. I'm going to give them a little plug right here. Salt Stick capsules, because they've got a little dispenser that you can twist out the capsules, or they have, I can put the capsules in a little Ziploc baggie, and also I can put the capsules, what did I do today? Oh, I twisted them apart and then
into my fuel bottle and mixed it all up. And I keep wanting to say salt, but it's actually electrolytes. Salt stick is a whole bunch of different electrolytes, not just sodium. So you can check it out at SaltStick, shopsaltstick.com. And there's a store locator on their website. There's saltstick.com and then shopsaltstick.com. And in the United States, you can use a discount code, ZenTri25, and you get 25% off. Try all caps. I don't know if it's case sensitive. It might be. 25% off of Salt Stick, and then you're using what I'm using, and the stuff works. I might, because I up my water, I might up my sodium one more capsule, maybe like half a capsule per hour. You know, it's really cool when you do a concentrated bottle, but you got to be careful. You squeeze a little bit of the concentrate in your mouth, and before you swallow it, put that bottle back in your bottle cage, and then take a big sip of water with the concentrate in your mouth and swish it around, and then that'll dilute it, and then you will have much better diluted fuel, so it doesn't hurt your stomach. And let's see, on top of that, I'm still riding with my flat pedals, and it's fun, man. It's absolutely fun. I'm so used to them now. I don't know if I'm going to go back. Probably will, but it's still pretty cool. I need to put those. They're Harrier VPs. I need to put them on my mountain bike, man. Those pedals rock. And the crazy thing is, a thing I figured out was I don't like riding with other people because it's not a good environment to train for non-draft triathlons. And the local cycling club around here is really big, really active, really great. I've been a member off and on for years, you know, and I hang out with them, and I know most of them, or I don't know most of them anymore. But it's great. It's a great group, but I don't really like to ride with them because they stop all the time. Because they're more like roadies, where it's bursts of speed and then they stop and they talk about their last burst of speed, and like I think over half my ride. Half the 60-mile, a 3-hour ride that I'll do, they'll stop 1 time, 2 times, at least 3 times, just for half my ride. So let's say they stop 6 times, you know, and I stop once to pee and once to refill water, and I make it as fast as I can. And I don't know, I've never been a member of other big cycling groups. I don't know if other groups are like this. Somebody tell me. If they stop all the time too, you know, they get to a gas station, they stop and walk around and do all this other stuff. And I found that I didn't get better at doing triathlons until I quit stopping all the time, right? So I don't really like riding. I like the people, and I love cycling, and I love what they're doing. I just don't like doing it so much for my particular training. But what I found out is something cool, psychological trick. Is I like starting off with them at the same time, or right around the same time, and catching up to them. I think it's really neat. And they start off their rides really, really early. And that gets me motivated to get up and out and riding with them. And that's pretty cool. So this morning I found myself heading out the door earlier than the past two weeks, I found myself heading out the door earlier than I would have because I'm trying to be social and see them on my ride. And it's pretty cool. And then what's really funny is I'm on a tri-bike, and some of them are too, you know. But I'm like, you know, competitive, you know, long distance triathlete. So and I'm loaded down with water and all this other stuff, so I don't need to stop all that much. But I'll pass them, you know, just gradually. But it's so funny, like it drives some of them crazy, and they'll pass me back like once or twice on a hill or something like that, because I know from long distance stuff to not go up the hills too hard. You got to just pace yourself up the hill, and you have to swallow your ego, man. You have to let the group go. Don't try to keep up with them because you'll blow up. And so an example was today, I passed them on a flat that ended up going downhill, and then it's this big downhill and then a big uphill, and then they passed me back going uphill, hammering, standing and climbing, going past me and almost looking like they were just angry that they got passed, because it was the leaders of that group. It's like 20-something people, and and they and then at the top of the kind of like the bottom of the next long gradual descent, I caught them again and passed them, and then they stopped to talk with each other, or I don't know, whatever they're doing. But but I really enjoy seeing them out there, and it gets me out of bed to go ride. And I got friends in that group, and I say hi when I ride with them a little bit, So if you're looking for a motivator to get up and riding early, find your local bike club and at least start off with them, right? Even if you don't want to ride with them all the time, start off with them. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so Dynalist is this new website, dynalist.io. D-Y-N-A, Dyna, like dynamo, dynalist.io, and it's a website where you can create bulleted lists of stuff, and you can move bullets up, down, left, right, and you can create checklists within the same bullets, and you do all this crazy stuff. And so what I've done is I've made it's like a 20, I wouldn't say it's 30, it's probably a 20 item list of stuff I need to do pretty much every day. And then, it's got dates in it too. It's really cool. And then it's so fast and so easy. The problem with a lot of to-do lists is you got to create an item, and then you got to do this, and you got to do that, and then you got to save it. Now this is just it's just like creating a bulleted list in like a Word document. And then it's accessible on your phone, on your work computer, on your home computer. It's all the same list. It's pretty cool. And you can move things up, down, whatever. It's got a folder structure on the side, and then it's got an awesome search function. So I'm using it every day. I make a copy of that template of a schedule, and then I paste it, and then I make a new. I title it today and give it today's date, and then I try to go through it, and then I have a list that I can drag and drop, kind of move things in there as I'm doing it, and it is so cool. I really encourage everybody to go check out Dynalist. It is really neat. Oh, and I found out on Apple iOS 10, when you upgrade to that, if you've got an Apple phone, the notes pad, if you want to make a note, is actually shareable now. If you make a note list or whatever you want to do, you can share it with another person. Great way to make a grocery list and then share it with somebody else, because I'll go to the grocery store, or Emily will go to the grocery store, and it's so cool to just look on a list, and Emily's going to the grocery store and I'm at home, and she's like on her way. She's like, I gotta go to the grocery store right now or else it's gonna get really crowded. I'm like, okay, I'll update the list as you're driving, and I'll go through the pantry and I'll be adding stuff to the list, and then when she gets to the grocery store, it's already there, and you can even take photos and stuff. I'm like, which Raisin Bran do you want? I'm like, this one right here, and paste a photo in there, and so that's an iOS 10. You can now share a list, which is really handy. It's kind of just baked into the stuff. And then, let's see, the Apple Watch is waterproof. Doesn't have enough battery life for triathlon stuff, really. But I guess I should wrap it up with Suunto. I got the Suunto Spartan Ultra, which is their super, super long distance new watch, and I'm digging it. It's touchscreen. And it's I think it's an OLED screen. It's a touch screen. It's got crazy ass battery life on it. And what's kind of both wacky and kind of cool is I got the first release of it, so they're still updating the software on it. And so it doesn't do everything just yet, but it's okay because it's coming. It's really cool. And I've been swimming and biking and running with it, and letting Kai wear my Garmin 920. And oh man, I heard something crazy that makes me mad. I'll get to that in a second. And the anyway, I'm really digging it. The Suunto Spartan, and Suunto's huge in Europe. And man, I wish they would make a bike computer. That would be really cool. Then you could have the whole ecosystem. It's Bluetooth only, and my power meter is Ant. So I've got a PowerTap power meter hub, and I don't have both Ant and Bluetooth. And I've got my Garmin 510 bike computer in front of me, and I need that. It's a big screen that mounts right between my hands. I'm not going to give that up. I'd give it up if Suunto made a cool bike computer, and Garmin only does Ant, so I'm going to have to eventually get a bike computer that does both, because the Suunto won't pick up the power meter, I'm going to have to get power meter that does both, because both Ant and Bluetooth. But I was doing some research on because my power meter is really old, so if I upgrade my power meter, what power meter should I get? So I was looking around, and it is really difficult to find the right power meter. I've got a Shimano Ultegra crank that's a 4-arm. It's the new 4-arm Spider, and none of these power meter companies are coming out with that. It looks like Power 2 Max, the number 2 Power 2 Max, might soon, but then it looks really expensive. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. And then I was looking at the PowerTap pedals. I just like PowerTap because it's just the most simple, easiest stuff. There's almost no calibration on any of their things. It just works. It's so great. And I found out this crazy detail that with the Garmin 920 XT watch, there was firmware version 2, then they updated it to firmware version 3, and then they've updated it to firmware version 5. I don't even think they went to 4. I think they went right to 5. And because Garmin makes their own power meter pedals, they removed the option to put in your crank length if you're using other power meter pedals. And crank length affects your power reading by percentages. 2%, 5%, 10%, I don't know, whatever it is. But unless you happen to have crank arms that are 172.5 millimeters long, your power meter readings off the PowerTap pedals are going to be wrong. And if you want to, it used to be able to go in and specify the length of your cranks. If you had, with version 2, you could do it with all the pedals. Well, now they're on version 5, and Garmin is only allowing for you to put in crank arm length if you have Garmin's pedals. They removed the ability for you to do that with other pedals, and there's several other companies making power meter pedals, and they got the right to do that, but man, that's just it's kind of come on, guys, it's kind of underhanded. I think they should put that back in, because I was like, oh man, I could buy some PowerTap pedals. That would be really cool. Because PowerTap pedals, now they have a left-sided option only, and then you can later upgrade to the right-hand side. And on PowerTap's website, it said, unless you have 172.5 crank arms, you're going to have to downgrade your software, your firmware on your Garmin back to version 2. There's all these other improvements that happen, when you go up to version 5. Why would you want to go back to version 2? And if you don't like it, well, here's a link to email Garmin support or call them and complain, I guess. And it's just oh man, I was like, that would have been really cool, those PowerTap pedals. They're rated really, really great. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. All right, well, I guess that wraps up the show. I'm going to push a show out here. I'm getting in some kind of crazy intersection here, and I got to cook dinner at this camp out tonight. Emily's she's done plenty of camping-ish sort of stuff, but I've done like lots of primitive camping. She's like, what do we cook for dinner? Like Mexican food, piece of cake, rice, beans, and whatever you want, hot sauce, sprinkle it, and fajita meat and tortillas, and you've got actually a pretty cool meal. And she said, okay, so this was yesterday. She said, okay, I gotta get home early so I can cook it all so we can bring it. And I go, no, you cook it there. She goes, that'll take forever. I go, you get minute rice, you just warm up the beans, you fry the meat in a frying pan or grill it over the fire. You're done in like 10 minutes. It's so easy. And so Emily was like, oh yeah, I guess so. So I'm on my way there right now, and I'm going to be the one cooking it to show her. And then also, I'm presenting the boys. I talked to the scoutmaster about it, the head adult, and he thought it was so cool. My Boy Scout troop growing up had an award called the Golden Spoon, and whoever cooked the best meal, they go ahead, before you go on the camp out, you decide which meal is going to be your fancy meal. And this gets kids cooking way better crap. Like this one kid was like, what about Pop-Tarts? You know, it's like, no, dude, camping, it's rough out there, man. With just a little bit of effort, you can make, well, not even effort, just thinking, you can make some kick-ass meals. So it's a wooden spoon that's painted gold, and whoever cooks the best dessert or the best meal, it kind of varies, and the adults judge it, right? So the adults get a free dessert out of it. It's the biggest con ever. That patrol, because the Boy Scout troop is broken up into patrols, gets the golden spoon. And Emily went and bought the wooden spoon, and I've spray painted it gold and put a leather lanyard on it. And we're going to give it away tonight with whatever the kids cook. And I'm not going to be expecting too much tonight, but it turns into a war with these kids. And the Boy Scout troop I was in, we had like 3-course meals, 4-course meals. Like primitive backpack camping out in the middle of nowhere, all to win that golden spoon. It was really cool. And then you have the golden spoon hanging from your patrol flag until the next camp out. And they usually camp out once a month. So all the troop meetings once a week, you have the golden spoon. And so it's like a pride thing. Like you're the most awesome chefs out there. So it's pretty cool. All right, I need to get off the mic. I got lots of stuff to do. Everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.
Oh,